Fat. We're the Phat Peeps.
Hey, peeps.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phat Peeps Podcast.
Hey, peeps. It's us. Hey, peeps.
Episode number 19. I'm your host, Joey, and I'm
Hi,
here
Joey.
with cameraman John,
Oh, hey.
Hi,
It's
John.
Me. Hi, me.
Garrick,
Oh, hello.
Hi, Garrick.
Oh, hey.
and PJ.
Hi. They're
Hi,
driving
Oh,
me
PJ.
hey, PJ.
absolutely
Hi.
bonkers tonight.
You're bonkers.
Just so you all know.
You're bonkers.
Yes.
Do you guys remember the show Bonkers?
Wait,
Yes, that
bonkers?
was a
That's
good show. With the cat. The cat, police officer.
In the hat?
Oh, cat police. I thought it was like a cheetah or something. Was it a cheetah?
It's
or
probably a
something weird?
cheetah.
I don't know. It's a cat. Cheetahs are cats.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true.
It is what it
Allegedly.
is.
I don't know. I think it's like a lynx for like a bobcat or something like that.
Oh, Bob.
Wow.
Oh, that makes sense. Bobcat.
It was a good show.
Was his name Bob?
Yeah. Right?
I'm pretty sure his name was Bonkers.
Oh.
I'll be honest. I don't remember anything about it.
It's like George
other
Lopez. The
than
show's
it
named
was
after
a
the
show
main
that
character.
existed. Sure. Okay.
I just remember a bobcat or a cat in a cat costume. I mean, in a cop costume.
Oh, wow.
Wait, was the show
Anyway.
named George Lopez or Lopez? Or
The
the
Vitamin C
Lopez's?
guy?
No, I'm pretty.
Jose?
Not Mind Him and See. That's
I'm
Carlos
pretty
Mencia.
sure it's no,
Oh.
I'm
Gabriel
pretty sure
Iglesias?
Dear God.
George Lopez.
Oh God. Okay. Anyhow, continue. I'm gonna go.
Anyway.
Welcome to the
Crazy.
podcast, guys.
We're the
Where am I?
podcast where we talk normally about video games, but sometimes other stuff like old
Like that.
cartoons and Nick at Night comedies.
It
Oh.
hurts so bad.
Uh,
Help.
anyway, we got a bunch of great news
Ooh,
to
whoa.
talk about in the world of video games. But before we get to that, we always do the icebreaker question of the
Ooh.
week.
Ooh.
Oh God.
Go on.
This week's icebreaker question is brought to us by Rocky Squid.
Rocky Squid.
Shut up!
Wow!
It sounded like it said shut up,
And,
but shut
No,
up.
I said shut up.
The question is, what food do you like that most people don't like / find disgusting?
Wow.
Ah,
Great
yes.
question, Rocky
Great
Squid.
question.
Good question. I don't know.
Go on. There was like a long pause. Who wants to go first?
Well, Joey should go first. He always does.
I got to go for it. So here's the thing is, I can't really think of anything that I like to eat that most people don't like to eat.
Don't tell me you're one of those fucking people that put ketchup on macaroni and cheese.
No,
Oh.
that's gross.
Oh my god.
Why would I do that?
I'm waiting
No.
for that one person.
I know people who do that,
Yeah, I do
but
too.
no, like
I don't
no.
like it. It's gross.
Probably Emily from Epicurious.
Anyway,
I don't know who that is.
I have a lot of things that I don't like that people do like, right? So I think that's a lot more like common in general for
Right.
people.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that's a cop-out answer. I do remember, and I don't eat this anymore, and now the thought of it kind of sounds gross, but there was a period when I was a kid where I would have peanut butter and salami sandwiches.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Peanut butter and salami.
Yeah.
But now, like, thinking about it,
That's
it sounds
funky.
too salty.
That sounds super salty.
Yeah.
It's kind of making me gag a little bit, but that's interesting and different, I guess.
But my opposite side of that is I hate olives.
Oh,
Can't stand them. They make,
No,
like,
how
if
dare
I
you.
eat them, they
I love
give me a
olives.
headache.
well, I guess we're not giving Joey olive and pineapple pizza.
Oh, no.
Man.
No,
You
but
can
the
see.
question is, what food do you like that most people don't like?
Well, he's a
Yeah.
very picky eater, so he
Oh,
likes.
he
I'm
did.
pretty
He
used,
said
so I don't
salami
have
and
any
peanut
of
butter.
that. Yeah, I
Salami.
said the
Oh.
salami and peanut
But
butter
you don't
sandwich.
like it anymore.
Yeah, I haven't had it in a long time.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't
Okay,
necessarily mean he
have it
doesn't
again?
like it. He doesn't know if he likes it anymore. But that's what
Oh.
he used to like.
I see.
And, you know, when you're a kid, I feel like
Yeah, you have the taste
you're
buds of a
prone
pregnant
to
woman
eating
when
weird.
you're a kid.
Right? You
Oh.
just, like, kids just eat weird stuff.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
yeah, I ate a lot
Agreed.
of weird
That is
stuff as a
true.
kid.
Like gummies and chocolate pudding.
Oh, that's gross.
But
It's
like,
the
I would still eat
textures.
a, I would still
Oh.
eat a dirt pie or mud pie, where the fuck they're called, with the
Oh,
Oreos
right, yeah.
and everything. I'd still
Yeah.
eat that to this day with the gummy worms in it. But the idea in general is gross, and I don't
Wait,
think I
what
would just
idea?
do it out of context.
Wait, what do you mean?
You know, so you don't remember the dirt things like they
Yeah,
put
yeah.
the pudding at the bottom and whatnot? I'm talking
Right.
about like eating that nowadays minus the concept of the dirt cup.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like
Just
sugar
literally
content or-
chocolate with gummies in it. That
Yeah.
sounds gross to me.
Right, it's just like candy on candy, I guess. kind of
Right,
thing.
it's too
Yeah.
much. But if I ate like one of the mud dessert things with the Oreo topping and stuff like that in that context, I'd be okay with it.
Okay.
So, but anyone else?
Nice.
Go first because I'm still trying to think of what.
That's
mine is.
hard. Well, the thing's like I don't know what people don't like because I don't really pay attention to what people like. I mean, don't
Yeah.
like. Sorry, I pay
I
attention to
don't
what people.
associate with them.
Yeah, I'm more paying attention to what people enjoy rather
I know
than
you like
dislike.
Brussels sprouts. That would
I like
be...
Brussels sprouts, but do
Yeah.
people not like? It's just
Yeah, it's a general
I
consensus.
think people
that-
don't like Brussels sprouts.
But
Yeah.
again, it's how it's like I
Yeah.
wouldn't like Brussels sprouts if they were sent like steamed
Steam-
until they're mushed. You
They
know?
have to be done.
Who
right.
invented steaming vegetables? Like
yeah.
that's
It's so
incorrect.
flavorless
Hey,
and
some
gross.
thing's are okay
Um,
steamed.
Broccoli's okay
Yeah,
steamed.
broccoli's good
Yeah,
steamed.
broccoli,
Well, don't
but
over
the
steam it
carrots
though.
It's hit and
okay
miss.
I feel like
it's
the
mostly
problem-
miss.
I feel like the problem is over like doing it.
Yeah, and
turning
then it just
vegetables
becomes
into
mush. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's disgusting. Like
And
they
there's
have
no
to have
flavor.
a texture.
Yeah.
Well,
It
they have to
needs-
have a texture. They have
Yeah,
to be
I
a little
want some
crunchy.
crunch, a little crunch.
All
to
the
it, yeah.
flavor went into the water.
Yeah, pretty much.
All the nutrients are
Uh,
gone too.
yeah,
Like,
but-
what's the point of
I'm
eating
trying to think of,
vegetables
like,
at the
a-
point?
I mean,
A
think
food chain or something like that.
I had a friend, Shelby. You guys know Shelby. He
Yeah.
introduced me
Oh,
to.
wow.
He eats lots of weird stuff. No offense,
Go
Shelby,
on.
if you're not listening, but it's kind of weird. But you introduced me to cheese and peanut butter sandwich, like a cheddar cheese with peanut butter. It sounds
I don't know
bizarre,
about
and
that.
when he told me about it, I
Oh.
was like, I don't know about that. But when I ate it,
That sounds
I was like,
super salty.
this actually works.
Wow.
It's not very salty. It's because the cheese itself is really salty. The peanut butter itself isn't, because you don't use like
it's
super
more
sweet peanut butter.
sweet,
It's
right?
So
more
it's-
peanut buttery.
It's more of a it makes it more of a savory like sandwich than like a sweetened like peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh wow.
It's more of a textural experience.
interesting.
Like the taste is mostly overpowering peanut butter, but you have the salt from the cheese, which kind of brings out the sweetness from the peanut butter.
the
But still,
umami?
it's still more of a savory sandwich though.
Oh wow.
But it's nice, like satisfying. You have like very soft things in between the soft bread. So
I guess-
texturally, it works.
Kind of makes
Taste,
sense.
it's not bad. It's like,
Okay, see,
um,
that's the thing for me. Taste has to match the texture.
yeah, it
so
does,
that's-
because everything's soft and it's like so you have the mushy, not mushy, like the sticky peanut butter, and the kind of soft like kind of butter like feeling of that's not so
Mm.
sticky of the cheese kind of works with it, like it kind of melts.
That's why I like putting
Nuts.
pickles inside of my grilled
Yeah.
cheese because it adds like a
Oh.
crunch factor to
That's
it
actually a
and
good
a little bit of
idea.
vinegar. Oh no, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
Oh,
You
yeah,
get
I love
that.
the
I love
dill
the
pickle. Yeah, the
Ooh.
dill
Yeah, I love the
pickle
tang for
slices
that.
that you put on burgers. You put those
Um,
like across it with sourdough bread and some Munster cheese. You
Yeah.
are set. You are set for life. You will shit your brains out, but you're set
Oh.
for life.
I notice as we get older, we start to like tang more.
Vinegar,
sour
tang.
stuff.
I've
Yeah.
always liked sour stuff as a kid, like tangy
wow.
sour stuff.
I hated
always
pickles when I
loved
was
it.
a kid, but now I love them.
I actually
Oh.
hated sweet and savory things together as a kid.
Oh.
Like even the In-N-Out special sauce, it's like Thousand Island dressing. If you guys don't know, like with like pickles, I think is it like ketchup? Thousand
Yeah,
Island
pretty
like
much.
dressing?
relish.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
and
It's
relish.
not
I did-
quite Thousand
I
Island, but
hated that because the Thousand Island dressing was too sweet for me, and with the pickle saltiness of pickles, did not like it. Couldn't eat it. I always had to
Blasphemy.
like my parents never let me special order anything, so I would always kind of scrape the sauce off when we went to In-N-Out. So thanks for doing that.
they didn't let you special order. What?
No, they're like I order whatever is on the menu, and I'm just like okay.
Dang.
I want a
Why though?
cheeseburger,
Like, what does that
and then
matter?
I move. Oh, I guess I didn't know that was an option to like to hold the sauce or
you
something.
weren't vocal
I
about
wasn't.
it.
Yeah, I wasn't vocal about it. I was like, it's just what I do. If I don't like something, I'll just scrape it off myself.
Okay.
Which
see,
I
so
do find that
that's
annoying.
That's
yeah,
different than your parents turning around and saying, "You better not fuck this
Yeah,
up."
I was just not given the option to like. I didn't know that was an option to do it.
Okay.
You will eat it how it comes, and you will
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a big
Yeah.
difference between like them not informing you of the world outside of the menu,
Right.
and
But
then
even that's still my like mentality now. It's like even if I don't want something on it, I'd be like,
This is
whatever.
the way it's supposed to be.
I can deal with it. Yeah, it's like it's supposed to be this way. I'll eat it how they prepped it.
The way that the chef intended it.
Yeah, it's like
the 99-cent chef.
I feel like people have too much freedom these days, guys. Come on, you guys should see that. No, what are we talking about?
I don't remember.
People,
Fast
things that
food
you like that
Oh,
people
foods.
don't like.
I don't. Yeah, I can't.
You
maybe,
answered the question already.
Oh, did I? But
Yeah.
that's something I would go out of my way to eat, though. It's like if someone gives me that, I'll be like, sure, I'll have it.
I feel like this question's too thought-provoking.
I will say a lot of stuff like Vegemite. A lot of people don't like it, but
Oh,
it's mostly
God.
stuff that people don't know how to eat correctly.
I gotta try it. I haven't tried it.
How do you
yet,
guys
but
feel
I'm
about
scared.
cream of wheat?
Cream of wheat.
I don't even know what
I
that
feel
is.
like I've had cream of wheat, but
It's like
What
a
is it?
porridge, kind of like an oatmeal porridge.
oh yeah, it's like drinkable oatmeal. Yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
that sounds
yeah,
good.
that shit's the
Yeah.
bomb.
I'd
I
try
like
it.
oatmeal.
I don't know. I don't know if people are into that, but
I like it because
I'm
yeah,
very
it's just
into the
pretty
cream
much,
of wheat.
yeah, it's like smooth kind of like it's more of a smooth oatmeal
It's like
kind
a
of thing.
it's like a pudding
Yeah, pudding.
oatmeal,
Yeah, I like it.
like
I
a
think
porridge oatmeal.
yeah, in Asian countries it's pretty popular for like they have like a packet of it and you just eat it up.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh wow.
What's...
What about Garrett?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's
me?
Garrick's? If you think of another one, John, go for it.
Yeah, I was
but
thinking of something.
I think you need to have
I like not necessarily like maybe amongst the people that we know or maybe American culture, but a lot of people misconstrue the beauty of oxtail cuisine, like cuisine with
okay.
oxtail.
Yeah,
I'd try
yeah.
oxtail. I think that sounds good.
Oxtail is just basically cowtail. I don't know why they call it an ox, but it's like it's good because it has the
It's
good
bone
meat
marrow,
that's
right?
been near. It's been
I mean,
I
it's
don't
kind of
usually eat the bone marrow, but the meat is what like if it's cooked correctly, the meat is really good fall off the bone, and it's very fatty, so you can get like a little bit of a gelatinous fat there to add that flavor.
That turns
And,
me away from
like
it.
Filipino cuisine, and then a lot of other Asian cuisine has
Yeah, like
oxtail,
adobo
too.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then
adobo, but
what's the
mostly
other
kare
one?
kare is a peanut butter stew or something. So you dump a bunch of peanut butter and other ingredients and vegetables and stuff with the oxtail, and it's so good.
What's the orange sauce that your mom usually makes?
It's our version of
Menudo, right?
menudo.
Yeah, that one
tomato
has a
and
lot
all
of
that.
fatty, like chicken
Yeah.
or pork parts usually.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I usually cut the fat off on that. I try to eat as much
Yeah.
as I can, but I'm not a big I'm not into the fat on meat. It grosses me
I don't
out.
know if you tried kare kare though, but that's the most that's my favorite dish because like my mom doesn't make it too often
Right.
because it takes a while and it's pretty expensive too. So
Well, it
but
sounds like
a
it because
nice
it's like a
treat.
kitchen sink typing.
Yeah, but it's so
recipe.
good.
I have not
I
had
want to
it.
I want to piggy off that because I think that is another thing. Like I really appreciate like a good like a tendon stew or something
Oh.
like that. Which I don't think Western cultures do very much, but it's like so much collagen and so much like that fattiness. There's a lot of flavor in there that you miss out when you just
yeah.
eat meat or just eat the the muscle part of the meat.
I'm okay with having it in there. I just don't want to eat that piece of meat.
I don't
I think
like,
it's a good
different
texture. It's a,
it's a different type. Like it's not like fatty. It just becomes gelatinous.
yeah, it's
almost.
like a gelatinous kind
And
of.
that's
like
why
a,
I don't like it. Like when I'm
yeah.
thinking of meat, I'm thinking of a solid piece of something that I want to
Yeah.
chew.
Well, yeah, you're not eating meat. You're eating like a tendon or
Yeah.
fat.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
a lot.
Grosses
It's not
me
a
out.
lot of like gelatinous that you have
Yeah.
to deal with. It's like it
A-
accents it.
And I like some of the tendon stews that like, in Taiwan, like in Chinese culture, is like because you get the meat. They kind of leave the meat on there, but you have tendon, you have fat, so you have like a different textural experience in one like bite. So you have the the meatiness of normal meat, and then you have like a kind of chewy, kind of almost I don't want to say rubbery, but it's like
Ooh.
a satisfying kind of chew with a tendon,
Yeah.
and then you have that nice kind of buttery, fatty from the
It just has to be cooked right, like
yeah,
low and
very
slow.
slow. And I think a lot of American, or at least American dishes don't have that experience, that like kind of mouthfeel that I was able to find. But yeah, that kind of stuff. Not like
Oh.
intestines, just like tendons and like
Right.
other parts of the meat. You know.
I'm not into the fat on meat, and I don't know if that's just a like more like you're saying American person thing or
Yeah.
American thing, or if it's
'Cause
like
I can't think of
a
any
white
dishes that
person
do that.
thing, or I don't know what it is. I
Like
mean,
maybe
but I know a
Italian,
lot of
maybe
people.
yeah, maybe a French and Italian cuisine because I'm not too familiar with those. Maybe they have also like kind of similar using like the different parts of the like tendon and fat.
I
and
want to
with
say
the fat.
French probably. I mean, think of snails, like that texture. So it's probably very similar.
Yeah, I've only had escargot once, and it's very rubbery.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's
Not,
more
it's
like
not. It's not. It's like
uh,
overcooked shrimp.
So it's
kind
kind
of
of overhyped. It's a overhyped.
Yeah. Well, that's
dish.
I've only had it once, so I don't know if it was properly
It's probably
prepared or
not.
stuff
I was
like
gonna
that.
say it's probably more like calamari.
But for most people I've heard that also had snail, it's all about the sauce, the garlic sauce. It's like
right.
so.
I don't know if I could eat that. Bugs are one of the things on my list that I probably.
Well, good
couldn't.
thing snails aren't a bug.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
whatever it is.
crustacean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that grosses me out. Just
So
that
if you
idea
eat shrimp, you can eat
Yeah,
it
yeah.
of my answer.
That's actually a gastropod, but same difference.
In
Oh.
short, for like our group immediately would be Chipotle because I know a lot of us
Oh my.
don't eat it.
That doesn't count,
I
though.
don't
because
I know it
Chipotle
doesn't.
is,
I-
like,
that's-
one of the
that's
most
my
popular
cop-up
things on the
answer.
planet.
No. Yeah,
That's my-
PJ.
wait.
I don't
Get
accept
outta
that.
I
here.
didn't. No, but I didn't finish. I said that's
No.
my cop-up answer for the group because I know a lot of us like disagree with Chipotle.
No,
I
that's
love
because
it.
you just eat it too much.
But
Yeah.
no,
Also not that
You
great.
gotta
I don't eat it.
explore
I eat
actual
it
how much
once.
you
Okay,
eat.
no, let's move off of Chipotle. Answer the
Not
actual
sponsored.
question.
I eat it once a month. That's too much.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
Go on.
Go on.
That's a lie.
I forgot my real answer because of
Oh,
that.
dang it.
Good job,
Does it have to
guys.
do with burritos?
No.
Does it have to do with
Cow tongue?
Oh
Pepper?
no. Actually, meatloaf, and it has.
Meatloaf?
It's because meatloaf has a really bad rap, and
yeah,
I love
I've-
meatloaf.
I've heard that, but every person I've met never says anything bad about meatloaf. Like I've heard like
Really?
it's in
Yeah.
movies or something.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
like-
have to agree with you.
And I'm
like,
what? Where is
it's like it's different than like fruitcake, where like if you've actually had fruitcake's awful.
Well, I
Right.
guess.
But like meatloaf, like what's not to like about meatloaf?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
it's
it's funny.
All the good stuff.
Because
I
every
think-
time someone serves that to me, like it's the same reaction. PJ's like, I know everyone doesn't like it, but you know, it's like just have some. It's like,
No,
where
I'm
is
just
everyone
thinking of
getting
something
this?
that I
Yeah,
like
it's
know
actually
of that has a
good.
notion that people
Yeah.
dislike it. I don't really know if there's a food that I like that most people don't. That's the problem.
I do
and
wanna
you
say,
haven't
though-
explored enough.
To jump back to talk about meatloaf though for a second, I think the real issue is that generally, if you get a meatloaf from like a diner, they're
Uh-huh.
gonna do a sauce that's very
Oh.
heavy in ketchup. that's-
Oh yeah, and
bad.
that's gross. It needs to be
That's
brown
gross
gravy.
and bad. It needs to be brown
Emily
gravy.
from Epicurious
Okay,
would love that.
agreed, 1000%. That's what causes the problem. Stop fucking putting ketchup on meatloaf.
Don't put ketchup on your
Yeah,
meatloaf.
Emily from Epicurious.
What if they use a ketchup-based barbecue sauce?
No,
So-
that's still
Oh.
gross.
Wait, what? Okay.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
but
okay with
also,
that.
it's
like,
better, but
there's-
it's still like
1000% best
Well,
thing is
who-
brown gravy on meatloaf.
Yeah, it's
Brown
not just
gravy.
just the
Yeah, go ahead.
sauce, but also the filling too. Like there's some meatloafs that can just taste bland because they didn't put enough oomph
True.
in it.
You gotta
Right.
yeah.
season it, and you
So
have to
I-
mix meats. A lot of them don't put
Mhm.
two
Yeah.
meats. You have to put pork, and you have to put ground beef in there.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. So you put a gravy like
Brown
like a
gravy,
brown
a
gravy
meat
like
gravy.
you put on potato sauce. I mean on
The
mashed
thing
potatoes.
is,
That
Yeah,
sounds. I wouldn't like gravies like that.
Why not?
I like
Anyway,
I like
no,
the tang
I
from
wanna
the
say
barbecue
that-
sauce on
Oh.
meatloaf.
so the thing is, traditionally, I want to say that a sauce for a meatloaf is
Uh-huh.
made with ketchup,
Uh-huh.
It is. That's
Okay.
like old school.
but it's like if you get it from a diner, they just slather it in ketchup.
Okay.
Like it's
Yeah.
not. It's almost like it's not as much. It's like they don't use the ketchup as the base for a sauce. They just use ketchup
Right,
as
okay.
the
Right,
sauce.
and then the meatloaf's sweet, and it's just like the meat shouldn't be sweet. It should be
right,
savory.
exactly.
Hmm.
It can have a little bit of tang, like what John's talking about, right? Where
Right.
you put a little bit of barbecue sauce on it, right?
Uh-huh.
Or like a properly made sauce that has ketchup, it's gonna
Yeah.
have a little bit of sweetness
If,
and a little
if I were
bit
to
of tang.
if I were to eat just the meatloaf alone, like the meatloaf by itself, if I were to complain, most of the time it would probably be missing some extra seasoning.
Yeah.
It could be bland, but the sauce covers it, so it kind of takes care of that. But
True.
I do agree with PJ. For my meatloafs, I tend to lean towards gravy, but I've had both and I don't mind it. It's
Okay.
still food.
Yeah, I have to try. You have to cook me like a gravy version because I think all the
I'll-
meatloaf I've had is like barbecue style
Maybe
meatloaf.
for the next Christmas party, I'll
Okay.
actually make a full-on meatloaf because the
wow.
meatloaf is bomb and they're huge, and
that's
I'll
what
make
she
a
said.
fresh gravy out of it too, like with beef stock and everything.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of
I think
ketchup,
you'd like it.
I'm curious. As a kid, did you guys eat your eggs with ketchup?
No.
Is that a thing?
Very
Illegal.
occasionally. I
That's
eat
illegal,
it when
okay.
I have a cheese omelet. I still do that to
Cheese
this day.
omelet.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
The only way that ketchup is gonna touch my eggs is if it was on potatoes
Potatoes.
next to the eggs.
And
Oh, see, I
accidentally
can't do
kinda
that.
accidentally
That's
got
even
on it.
that's gross.
See, I can't do that. Yeah, I can't. I
Cross contamination.
potatoes. Potato. No, wait, no.
The only
Ketchup.
the
Ketchup
only-
on eggs is okay for me, but potatoes and
Yeah.
ketchup, like,
Like-
home fried potatoes.
What?
Nah,
Yeah.
nah. It has to
Oh
be
no
on
no,
man.
home fried potatoes,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
like French fries and stuff, like anything that's fried,
French fries is
ketchup's fine.
okay.
But
I love
Hash
my home
browns
fr-
with some ketchup on it.
Oh, hash
No.
browns, yeah, it's okay.
no, I
Um,
just
That's
I
what
accept
I'm
like-
talking-
I love
what
my
other kind of
breakfast
potatoes am I
potatoes.
talking about? I'm not talking about like mashed potatoes.
I love my
That's what I
any
was thinking
version
you were talking
of
about.
breakfast potatoes version. No ketchup.
Oh, ooh. Well,
Who
hot
has
sauce.
mashed potatoes with egg? Wait, tell me out.
Wait,
I don't know,
Potatoes,
man. That's what I
no.
that's
imagined.
dinner.
Oh, see, okay, hey,
That's
we're
a
we're,
dinner
we're following
potato.
the topic, so that's gross. I don't like
Yeah,
mashed potatoes for breakfast.
not for breakfast.
No, I'm okay
This
with
is-
that.
That's
That sounds
illegal.
good.
Oh
I'm
no,
okay
no,
with
no,
that.
no! What you do with mashed potatoes for
Right,
breakfast?
potato cake.
Yeah, potato cakes, Irish
Oh,
potato
wow.
cakes. You throw a little bit of like green onion in there and some pepper and stuff like that, and then you just sit it on the like a pan and just let it get crispy on the outside.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
then the question becomes: is it a mashed potato or is it now a hash brown?
It's not a hash brown; it's a potato cake.
It's
Because it's not
it's a
hashed. Yeah,
patty.
it's a patty.
Well,
with
yeah, I
potato.
suppose you're right, but like
It's more of
Oh,
a solid
in the
than a liquid.
spirit,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
spirit
it's
of a
kinda
hash
like
brown,
it, I
right?
I'm
guess,
gonna
but
warn
not
all of
Spirit
you
of the
out
name,
there.
not the literal law of the name.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
warn all of you out there that are gonna make potato cakes tomorrow with your leftover mashed potatoes. Be careful and make sure they are solid enough. Do not put too much liquid in them. If they
Oh,
are too
geez.
liquidous, do
Oh.
not do it because they will
They get
splatter
poppy?
everywhere.
I was there. I was a
Everywhere.
potato.
It
Oh
was
no.
horrible.
Oh, I have an actual answer now.
Go ahead.
Sardines. Like a canned
Well, I love
sardine.
sardines.
Mm.
Spread it on
Not
cracker.
into that.
Yeah,
Oh.
that definitely. That I can
What?
definitely see.
Get some fresh
Wait,
dill,
oh,
maybe some
Yeah.
some
Well,
honey
some people don't
mustard.
like fish.
You know what? I would maybe like sardines.
Wait,
But
John.
like the thing
go
is like you eat the whole thing with like the bones in it. and
Yeah.
everything,
Well,
right?
with sardines, it just falls
Mm.
apart. It's not like bony
Mhm.
enough or like yeah. So it's a whole.
I
sardine
don't like the
like,
idea
tiny.
I
that,
don't know.
that that's
But-
kind of gross to me.
Yeah.
Well,
'Cause I
you-
do
you
like
can- You
tuna.
can pick it. You can.
And I
pick
like
it.
can
I like
pick at it.
Caesar salad, which has sardine in it.
It has sardine in it.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
So
But
that's
yeah,
fine.
I like full canned sardines. Spread it on a
Wait,
piece of toast or cracker.
John,
Oh.
have you tried sardines with a little spice? Because that's the best kind of sardine.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite too.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, that reminds me of spicy tuna. Anyhow, now we're going into things that people do like.
Oh, sorry.
Spicy
What was
think-
the question?
Video games?
Oh,
Let's do
people
it.
love
Yeah.
video games.
That's what I forgot.
right.
That's
I
what we're
forgot
here
about
for
that.
again. Oh, I love food talk, guys. We can talk about this. on the
Yeah, we just
podcast.
get lost in food
Also,
talk.
tomato basil sardines also very good. Anyways,
Oh,
games.
okay. Oh, we need to talk
Games?
about this off
Sardine
off the
toast?
podcast.
Oh yeah, sardine toast. Are good.
I wonder if you can make like a sardine melt, like a tuna melt.
I bet you can. I have not,
Wait,
not tried,
John,
but I
next
will try
time
now.
I
for
just gave John a good
For
idea.
our
Yeah.
charcuterie thing next time.
I
we-
don't
we can
think
add
sardines
something.
will work
Charcuterie?
with charcuterie chipboard.
Oh,
Is it?
well,
Do they?
I think it could work. Maybe just by
Maybe.
itself with the toast on the side if you
Yeah.
want.
Maybe.
Or
Yeah.
like put the sardine on the tray and like kind of like pick it so that it
Yeah.
has the meat ready to go that you can just put on a
Yeah.
cracker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe more of a not chutney, a pate or something like a.
Yeah, I was
like
gonna
a
say if you
Oh,
pre-mix it,
yeah.
I'll actually try it.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, we
Just
have a
drop
plan.
sardines into a blender.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean,
Or
at that point, it's pretty much
I
like
mean,
instead of a tuna
but
salad, it's
yeah.
like a sardine salad.
Yeah. Okay,
That's one
let's-
thing I
let's
miss
talk
our,
about-
our
We're getting worse and
ordering.
worse. We're almost at a half hour now. Just
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about Call of
Mm.
Duty Season 4.
Wow, it was really cool sounding.
Yeah.
Season 4
Whoa.
update. New guns, new battle pass, special
smooth.
events.
Uh-huh.
We're going to talk about things. Let's start with the new guns.
Those
We
new
got-
guns.
Whoa.
I don't know the name of them like in game, so
Fennec.
I'm going to call them what they are.
Vectors. The
Uh,
Fennec.
Yes. Just
it's
call
a
them
Vector
what, like,
and a
yeah,
Galil.
please.
Finnick Fox.
Galil is Ajax.
Galil
Amax.
Ace.
A what?
Amax.
I don't know what that is.
They're cool.
Amax is a
like-
Galil.
I don't know what
It's
okay.
just the name
Is
of
it
the
AR
gun
or
they
what is
get.
it? What kind of gun class?
AR.
It's an AR,
AR,
yeah.
got it.
AR and SMG, for right. The Galil is pretty much just an AK.
Oh.
It has some neat conversions. You can kind of turn it into a DMR.
Wow.
Fancy.
I'm actually trying that right now. I just barely got the 10 round mag. It's pretty strong, actually.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. Oh yeah, no, it can. It's a little bit more like the SKS or the EBR.
Yeah, it's even stronger than the SOCOM rounds on the M4. So.
Yeah. Which honestly, now that they like put the Galil out with the attachment, with it like behaving the way it does, it makes me wonder if they're gonna go back and like
Fix the
change maybe. Yeah, like change the way that the SOCOM rounds work on the M4
That'd be
to work
great.
a little bit more like, because like I know that people like the SOCOM rounds and it does like statistically have a really fast time to kill.
Oh yeah,
But
I can attest to that.
You're so hindered by that 10 round magazine
Right.
that like you're
Yeah.
probably going to get one kill, maybe two
That's the thing. It's like
tops.
it's the same thing
Yeah.
as the Odin, but the Odin has 10 more shots.
Cool.
Right, exactly.
Trust me, I
It's
would.
well, obviously the Odin
It shoots
fires a lot slower, right?
But still, like 2 bullets from the Odin, person's
Yeah.
basically dead. It's the same thing as the SOCOM. but if you
I
miss-
tried the SOCOM rounds on the M4. For Warzone, it's not recommended, but it's great on multiplayer. The M4 with SOCOM is my second weapon that I have the most kills with, and I love that system.
Yeah,
Always.
but like, yeah, that's the thing, is it's great for running up and getting a quick kill in like a 1v1 engagement with a person. But if 2 people around a corner, or like God forbid 3,
I can
You're-
make it happen.
okay, yeah, sure, you make it happen.
Well,
In
well, he
general,
did.
most players, well, yeah, you can make it happen, right? You
You guys
work some
of you
headshots
guys
in
have-
there. Yeah, you can make 3 kills happen out of that.
You
right.
see
right,
my
Mag.
kill
but there's
cams.
some
Right.
luck involved, and
But,
there's
like,
some like
Exactly. For most
skill.
players,
It takes skill, is what you're saying.
and luck.
sure, but like
You just want the
for
brand.
most yeah, you just want to brag. But for most players,
Go
right?
on.
If we're talking about the general Call of
normies.
Duty player base, they're
Yeah.
not going to touch it because it's not forgiving
It's too
in
difficult.
any way. Like, it's not forgiving at all. It has a lot more recoil. You have
Yeah.
less of a magazine, and like technically, its time to kill isn't fast enough
It's not that great.
for you to be like, I'm going to take the SOCOM rounds over the 60 round magazine.
That, and if you're gonna get 3 kills, Garrick, you have 1 extra bullet. That's it, because it takes it takes around 3. At
Yeah,
least.
but
If you
at the
don't
same
work
time-
headshots in there.
Exactly.
No, but at the same time, the way I win fights is by positioning as well. Same thing with why I was successful with the 725 for so long is because I know I have 2 rounds. I better be in a perfect position to reload within that fight if there's more than 3 people or something.
I
So,
Strategy.
guess it's
Yeah.
too much to
it's
balance and sit there and
Yeah,
be like,
it-
oh, it's
it-
10 shots.
it's reflex. It's not only how
Or-
to use the weapon, but also positioning.
Or if they want to keep it like kind of the way that it is now, make it a 20 round magazine and reduce the fire rate a little bit so it's not so good.
Mhm. I actually wouldn't like. Realistically, how are the rounds like IRL? How are the rounds for the Galil 10 rounds to the SOCOM rounds? Like, are they around the same caliber strength?
I don't know. I want to say I don't know too much about the ballistics of those
Okay.
actual guns, but I want to say that the SOCOM rounds are basically like 50 cals.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty
Um,
crazy. Like
Yeah,
45s,
that's crazy.
maybe? Or is that smaller?
I,
45's pistol. Never mind.
It's
Yeah.
similar to a 45-70,
but so not to get too nerdy, but
and
I
its
wouldn't
parent case
mind.
is a 50 Action Express. So
Okay.
It's
'Cause I
essentially a
wouldn't
50
mind-
without the density.
Like I would have what they did with the Galil with their 10 rounds is made it single fire. So I wouldn't mind buffing the SOCOM rounds on the M4 and making it single fire as well. The
Right.
only difference will just be a different system. You kit it out differently. So
Jesus, I think we just lost all the gun nerds like instantly when we were talking about
Oh,
it.
no.
We don't know shit
what are
about
these
bullets.
guys? They don't know what they're
Oh,
talking
liberals.
about.
Hit go pew pew.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, I
What?
don't know. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe in the mid-season balance patch that is planned, but we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll just keep talking about the Galil because,
Yeah.
and then we'll move on to the
You think it's the next?
to
Oh well,
Vector.
we'll ask this question later. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Go
I
The
was
Vector.
disappointed to see that. So I was hoping that it would have came chambered in either like 5.56 NATO or 5.45, right? Because like
Wait,
the
are we
way
talking
that
about
it is,
the Galil still?
yes, we're talking
Or
about the Galil.
Vector?
No, the
okay.
Galil. Because I was hoping that it would be basically like a AK-74 without having to change like the magazine for it, you know what I mean?
Right.
But instead they decided to have it default with the 7.62 by 39s that the AK use. And it doesn't even have a 5.56 or a 5.45 option, which I think is kind of a missed opportunity for, like, you know, having more interesting options for kitting out that gun.
Oh my god,
You know what
my
I mean?
chair. It's so squeaky. Sorry, guys.
Squeaky chair.
Yeah, it's driving me crazy. Anyhow, go ahead.
And then yeah, in terms of its like performance, it's good. It's got a good time to kill.
Yeah, I like it,
It's-
and the sights are solid.
Yeah, it's got really good iron sights. It's got a little bit it's got a bit more recoil than most of the other,
Oh,
you
no.
know, like meta guns. You know,
Yeah.
your carousing your M4s. So
But it
that's
has less than the AK, which that's like primo
Right.
because the bullet damage is on par.
yeah. So it's kind of basically just like a better AK.
Right.
But like I said, and it's also a decent 10 round DMR akin to like the SKS.
Sk-sk.
But I
I
would
do
just use
wish,
the
though-
SKS in that case because the SKS
Right,
is
exactly.
so good anyhow.
Well, the one thing to note there, though, is that if you're using the 10 round magazine, well, if we're talking Warzone, right,
Right.
and
Yeah,
you're using the
210
DMR
versus 40.
magazine, it counts as
Oh,
AR
that's true.
ammo
That's
instead
true.
of
Yeah.
sniper
Sniper.
ammo, so you
So you
carry
can
a lot
actually-
more of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's true. That's the biggest downfall
There's-
to the SCA because like you're gonna
Right.
take up to
It's got-
5 shots usually if they're at least medium
Yeah.
distance.
It's really hard to justify using any of those like single fire
Which sucks so
um,
bad because the SCA is
marksman
such a
rifles.
good-
Yeah, now that the Galil's out, that's the best DMR
Or
choice over
It'd
the
be
Marksman.
nice if they, like, realistically, what they should do is they should just make it so the SKS and the M14 use assault rifle ammo,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then the Kar 98 and the MK2 can continue using sniper ammo because they
That makes
behave
sense.
differently,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It shouldn't be based off of the gun model in regular Modern Warfare. It should be based off of the gun model in the game itself, like the blueprint. It's like if this is considered a
Yeah.
DMR, it's a DMR. If it's or an assault rifle, I guess it should be an assault rifle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they do that with some
Yeah.
guns. They do it with some of the AUG variants that use the NATO rounds. I'm pretty
Right,
sure.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
when you get the
Yeah.
custom loadout with an AUG, it's always SMG rounds, which blows
Mhm.
my mind and is kind of weird. But anyhow, that's off topic.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're
Oh,
right.
what?
So like, and it's kind of the way that the two different game modes work, right? So you're right. When you're in multiplayer, you're picking up the rounds of the gun that you're using, right? So it's like there's a difference between picking up AK ammo and M4 ammo because those guns use different ammos, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Whereas in Warzone, they just put all of the assault rifle ammos into one category,
Yeah.
right? Which means that because the AUG is technically a submachine gun, it
Right.
just makes more sense for it to always pull from the submachine gun pool.
Right.
Whereas in multiplayer, they actually have the coding differentiation to be like, it is firing a 5.56. It only picks up ammo from other 5.56 firing guns on the ground.
Right, and I can understand that, and that's fine. It's I'm sure it's hard for them to figure out a way to gently balance that. Like, imagine having to pick up a round caliber of each type. Like, that'd be nuts. So I'm on board with it still. I just think it's strange how they do that sometimes, where it's like, oh, a blueprint is this type of gun, so it uses this ammo, even though it's in a different category in Modern Warfare. But when you do a custom class, it does the opposite.
Yeah, they just don't want to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Because wars about
Yeah.
BR is already complicated enough. I see where they're coming from, but I like the solution that Joey suggested about just making it assault class for the M13 and Ska.
Yeah.
Oh,
I found it interesting that the Galil doesn't have any magazine options bigger than a 45.
Mm-hmm.
45
that was
capacity.
weird. It should have been a 60 or a 50 at least.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's using the same magazines as the AK, so why can't it just have the drum mag that the AK uses?
Right.
See,
the
that's the thing,
75
It feels like an AK through and through. So
That's why I like
why
it
I'm
so
saying-
much, I think.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying you
it's-
would like it immediately.
It's also what I think is weird about it because it's like generally like Israel's a NATO country, right? And I'm pretty sure that the Galil was originally designed in 5.56. So it surprises me that they decided to go with the 7.62 variant when it's because it's so close to the AK. I feel like it would have made more sense for them to try to make it its kind of own thing where it behaves a little bit more like the AK with the 5.45 rounds.
Right. Well, so there's that, and then the Finnick is the other one, the Vector.
Yeah,
wow.
we can go ahead and move
Which
on
I
to
think
the
Don't
Fennec.
the
I like
Finnick.
that gun.
Like a Finnick
AKA the
Fox.
Vector that
Oh.
But
all the people know that before Warzone.
so it's a really good gun. My problem with it
Okay.
is the ammo dump, especially in Warzone.
Yeah,
Damn, dumb.
it's got a really, really high rate of fire
Mhm.
and a pretty small magazine. It's one of those things where it's great for a single
It's an infiltrator.
target in close range.
Right, and it's an infiltrator gun, but like the MP5 does it slightly better. Just in regards, like the time to kill on the Finnick is higher, but the MP5 is more efficient with it. Like you're not dumping all that ammo instantly, and you can probably get like there's a guy that we watch, the Korean Savage, I think is his name. You know, he's a PlayStation 4 player. He gets up to 5 kills with the MP5, whereas with the Finnick, I can imagine he maybe can get 2. So,
Talking about
Yeah.
Tarkov?
oh, special guest Charlie.
Oh wow!
It's like,
No, you can just cut them out.
Just kind of move, hurry, pause, no, move.
Oh God, what? What happened?
I left him there.
You didn't
Commence.
realize we were in the wrong chat the entire
Let's
time.
tell 'em. Oh, we're podcasting, by the way, Black Hat. Just
It's
Oh.
okay. No, he can stay.
sorry.
We were in the wrong
It's
thing.
okay.
Do you wanna-
Special
do you wanna
guest
join us?
Charlie.
Hello.
Do you
Welcome,
wanna
Charlie.
join?
We're
Okay.
talking about
Okay.
Call of Duty.
Start over.
Oh.
Start over.
Call of
Reintroduce him.
No, this
Duty.
is all in it.
Special
real.
guest, Black Cat, aka
I'm very uninformed
Grim.
on Call of Duty.
It's
Okay,
okay.
perfect.
So, well, you can
It's
talk
okay.
about
They're
more
talking
stuff
about
later.
gun stuff, and I don't care about the gun meta. So
Anyways,
So, Finnick,
Um,
yes, good gun.
the aka the Vector, for Warzone, it's viable only if you run the 45 round mag. It just too quick, especially with all those armors.
Right.
But I like it. I've been running with the Vector. What is the car with extreme conditioning? So it's a really fast and mobile kind of thing, build. So I like it.
It's a good
So much
gun.
fun.
I think both guns are very solid, good guns, but it's like the Galil is more my thing. I'm trying to use the Fennec more often, but I feel like I'm gonna just switch to the MP5 until they nerf it for right now.
I haven't used
I
any
think-
of them.
I think the Vector does take a little more skill because you need to get those shots. You have to make them count
You do.
compared to like the MP7 or the MP5.
Right. and
That's a little more forgiving.
the MP5's damage rate is so much higher too, and it can be used at mid range, where the Fennec is purely a close range gun. I think
Yeah.
that's the way I see it anyhow. But yeah, those are the guns.
Mm-hmm. Next,
Wow.
we can talk about the battle pass. Not too much. Like it's the same thing. They offer cool things.
Captain
like
Price.
new
Is
it
skins and
cool things, though?
operators.
Captain
and
Price and then
new
the
guns.
weapons.
And just a reminder, if you invest in the battle pass, usually when you get through the battle pass, you get enough CP Call of Duty points to get the new battle pass for the next season. So really, you only buy it once.
Don't waste your money.
What if I have a
Well,
spending problem?
I know,
No,
right?
don't even buy it. I didn't buy it at all. I,
I-
just saved
yeah.
up 2 seasons. Took me 2 seasons.
I spent
So-
$2 whole to get the.
Oh no! So
last-
you could buy
uh,
like a Snickers or something.
It's my
Snickers.
appreciation to the service
Yeah,
that they've
Snickers bar.
offered.
Are
here.
you
$2, right?
hungry, John? No, but if
Yeah,
you've put
I am.
in over $100 into a game, the initial $60 doesn't mean crap. It's just
Wait,
like
100? Who put $100?
hours.
Oh my God.
Hours.
Oh, hours.
Oh, okay.
When you put in over 100 hours into a game, at that point, I feel like I can start supporting.
Yeah,
it
I'm
more.
paying them with my time.
Yeah.
I like at that point, visual and like extra like little aesthetic things. I don't mind paying a teensy bit more, just because I'm already playing this game so much. I'm willing to give you a little bit more.
I don't
in
think
my
I've changed
support.
my skins since I started.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Honestly,
you, John. Like the
Yeah.
general, the
No,
general,
the general
gaming-
public be like me. Be like.
The
So
general
if people
gaming
recall,
audience is different.
if people
Yeah.
recall what I said, that I would never offer a penny to them, but I've
You
been
did. Oh my
happy.
God.
I've changed my tune and I've been happy, and I think they deserve my $2 that I gave them. So,
They've been doing a really
It's
good
a little
job.
tip. But anyways, that's the battle pass.
No, I have something to say about
Oh,
the
go ahead,
Battle
Joey.
Pass.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, shit on it, please.
Um,
Too much
No,
praise.
he's not gonna shit on
Yeah.
it.
No, I'm gonna shit on it a little
Oh,
bit.
God, no.
Yeah.
They have a
Woo-woo.
tendency. They keep running like weapon variants for the same weapons over and over again.
Like the
Like-
M91.
Like the M91, like the Car 98, like the
Carnage.
P90. It tends to be guns that aren't popular, right? So it's clear that they're like designing these weapon skins and then being like, these maybe won't sell on the store.
So
We'll just
you
throw
make
'em into
one-
the battle pass.
Mhm,
Oh wow.
mhm.
So I have a question
So-
about this then.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, first battle pass. The guns were free in the past, weren't they? Are these ones now you have to buy the pass? to
No,
get them?
they're
they're
free
free
in the
still.
pass. There's
Yeah.
certain tiers that are free, and the guns are always free. There's
Oh,
blueprints.
I'm
that
talking about
cost
skins,
money.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the skins for the guns in this battle pass are mostly for, and not entirely.
There's
but,
one Fennec and there's one Galil, and then the rest are all
Right.
like pop,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
well,
and there tends to be duplicates, right? So there's
Right.
like multiple Car 98 skins and like multiple M91 skins.
Well, what's
and this
yeah.
isn't the first time this has happened, right? There's been battle passes before where
right. The
similarly
M91
they
has
have like
7
multiple Car
skins.
98s,
Or
and
something
it's
like that.
it's just
Yeah, I don't think I have
It's-
any blueprints unlocked for any of the guns I use. Like,
yeah,
right,
Times.
exactly.
I agree.
Because
I'm in the
they
same boat.
and you can see that especially now because they added a whole system where if you go into the create a class and look at the weapon, it'll like jump you to the store, right? And you can see all the like variants for the different guns available in the store, even if the like thing isn't necessarily on the store page, right? And it's like most guns are like 2, 3, 4, and then you get to the M4 and it's like 9, and then the rest of it, it's like 1, 2, right? And it's like it's so clear that like the M4, because it was the meta best gun for the longest time, they made a bunch of skins for, but they only put those skins in the store because they knew that, well, of course people will buy skins for the M4, but like who's gonna buy a skin for the M91? No one.
Right.
Joke's on you. I ain't buying anything.
So they just tossed that garbage in the battle pass. And personally, I feel like don't get me wrong, there are some like nice weapon blueprints in this battle pass, but for the most part, I feel like it's a like lesser offering compared to the battle passes we've had in the past.
I don't know about anyone else, but I don't really concern myself with blueprints or skins because usually the loadouts that they provide with the blueprints aren't that great.
So what do you see out of the battle pass? Like what do you see? What's the value out of the battle pass for the $2?
Probably operator skins more than
Okay.
anything.
Really?
Yeah.
So I'm more about.
See,
the
I feel
blueprints.
opposite of that.
Yeah, I like
because
the
I'm like,
blueprints.
I have the one operator skin that I like, whereas like a weapon blueprint is now a whole slew of attachments that might have custom cosmetics that I can build a custom weapon out of.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like maybe once I get a nice library for the guns I use, that'll make sense in the long run. But right now, because like, am I going to use a compensator where I could use a muzzle brake that I normally use a muzzle brake for all my weapons, like something like that? Like I'm not going to change my loadout just to make my gun look pretty at this moment in time.
Right. So how about Warzone stuff?
Oh, special events, eh?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this, so
Okay.
We'll take over from here, Joey. Don't you worry, child.
Wow.
So they added
so there's
3.
Go ahead,
like,
John. Or PJ.
They added 3.
Oh yeah, they added
I forgot your name.
3 events throughout like the middle of the game, like after the first loadout drop and the second ring movement, or right before the second ring movement. Jailbreak, fire sale, supply chopper. Jailbreak gets everybody that's dead or in the gulag back in the game. Fire sale like puts items in the shops at up to 80% off,
like
gives
Black
you
Friday.
free revive. Yeah, free revives, self revives, and then
wait,
free...
time out. Are these new? I thought these had been around since season 3.
No,
they
came out season 4. So they came out like last week. And then supply choppers are just like gold. Basically, like they drop a crate if you shoot down a chopper, and then you have to go over there and capture it, which takes fucking forever, and I feel like it's not worth it. But yeah,
let's break down each one a little bit more. So PJ explained that the jailbreak means you don't have, like, if your whole team's dead and you're watching everyone and you wasted your gulag already and you're just spectating somebody and the jailbreak event happens, everybody can be returned as well as everybody else that was dead. So that's a handy event to have.
I wonder how many times that the jailbreak event happened when we died before the event happened, like as
and
a
left.
group, and we just left. So now that I'm thinking back on that, like, is it worth sitting around waiting for if there's going to be a jailbreak as a group?
Because if we die so early, it's not tactical because we already lost our second chance. So
yeah,
and it's a gamble to see if you're going to get the event, because I think like the first few days they really upped the events. Like pretty much every match there was an event, but I think it's sporadic now. Not every
that makes sense. That's why I wasn't noticing them as often.
Uh-huh.
But I also realized
I'm not
that.
Sure if I read that.
Also, I realized that this, at least a supply chopper, was on the map, but if you weren't nearby, you won't get announced. So you can like kind of run up to an area that had the supply dropper without knowing, that was going on.
Like,
Right?
because I remember Supply Choppers was a smaller ring than
Yeah.
usual, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
it's-
It's really random though.
I feel like the supply
but
chopper is the most common one too, just because it's not as
yeah,
like powerful.
I want to say they kind of upped the rewards for the supply chopper because I remember the first time we did it, it wasn't too impressive at all. So,
Yeah.
but also with the fire sale, it says here in the patch notes or something, or the article, it says that up to 80%, but I don't think it's a percentage. I think it's like a flat amount of dollars. So like maybe $5,000 to make things free.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm
or
pretty
a
sure it's
certain
a
amount of money
flat.
off.
I'm pretty sure it's a flat
It's
amount.
45 because if you think about it, the only things that are free are self revives and then team revivals.
Ah, there you go. Smart. Yeah, that
So
makes sense.
The rest of them are just going to be discounted off
Yeah.
$4,500. That's why UAVs are
overall-
only 500. That's exactly what it
except
is.
for except for
Ah.
loadout crates, right?
Loadout crates are discounted too, I think, aren't they? Or
Are
no?
they?
They're
I
not.
don't know. They're
I
not.
don't
They're
think
not.
so. I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's
what I
kill
thought.
streaks.
Well, that's smart. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, because that should be something that's like not everyone in the game should be able to rush and get that instantly.
Yeah.
'Cause then it
Or
defeats the
betting on the
purpose of
fire
it.
sale.
Right.
Overall, I think the events are good. It adds another dimension to Warzone
Right.
and
Well,
changes the gameplay up a little
they
bit.
also supposedly took out red cards. It's something that I heard from like when I was watching YouTube videos about it. So I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but I haven't been seeing them as often either.
Red
I
cards?
haven't picked up
You mean
one yet. Key
the-
cards?
The
Oh,
red
key
key
cards,
cards,
right.
yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
know if that's like they're gonna make it so those alternate in patches or what they're gonna do as far as that goes.
I think honestly, they might be working on it for next season or something
Yeah.
for
because
the
remember they
secondary
had that.
bunker
Well,
layers
there
Yeah.
was
or level.
it was
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the story might just be moving ahead. So
Mhm.
like the key cards are out because it's not pertinent to the story, like the
Yeah.
special event story anymore.
Yeah.
because I found, you know how you can find like before the phones started giving you like passcodes or whatever, it would still ring, but nothing would happen, right?
Right.
I've been seeing laptops around the maps now that you can interact with, but
Oh.
nothing happens if you press E.
So I wonder if that's gonna be like the second
So,
tier
Yeah,
of the bunkers.
yeah,
So now you have to get a key
I
card
wonder.
and know a code.
yeah. Like hack the laptop or something.
That'd be interesting. But yeah, so that's the major Warzone changes. Also, I want to say as far as the shift of gameplay, so the events have forced the game to be much more aggressive, and then also sweatier. Like the games in general are harder. So
That might not just
That's-
be
yeah.
you. So I've been seeing a lot of reports from YouTubers and
Oh, yeah.
pro players
it's everybody.
saying that they like intensified the skill-based matchmaking algorithm going into season 4.
Well, it's that. Okay, so it's that. But it's also the events because all the events promote you to be rushing towards specific locations other than the jailbreak.
Mhm. Yeah, it creates more fighting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that. I like that.
yeah.
Pockets of conflict.
But also the shift in the meta. So it started last season. So the shift in the meta was the AR SMG secondary rather than snipers. Something I was watching this morning was talking about like the Grau and how strong it is and it being just as strong as a sniper. Like people are getting out sniped by the Grau. That's effectively killing the snipers. Like people
Yes,
aren't using
perfect.
them anymore because
The
it's
meta
like,
is boring because it's
Yeah.
all just growl
it's,
spam.
No, that and the
Mhm.
MP5. It's 2 weapons. Literally 2 weapons when there's 30 plus in the game makes 0 sense.
Yeah.
So that brings us
Which is
into the
why-
next topic of like weapon balancing and patches for
Yeah,
the next
I
for this
welcome
season.
that. Oh, before you get to that, there's another special thing. It's not necessarily an event,
Oh, yeah.
but it's called the contraband contract system, where
Which
you pick
is
up
cool.
a suitcase and you have to drive or bring it to a helicopter pickup zone, and you get a ton of money, and you get
weapon blueprint.
a weapon blueprint.
Right.
So
The gripe that I
And I
have
think
with
that's
that,
cool.
I thought they were going to be changing the weapon blueprint every week or at least every couple weeks. It seems like they might be changing it every patch, unless they're going to change it only once per season, which that would even be dumber. So
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed because the
It's a good amount of money you get though.
You do. No, the money's
Mhm.
worth it. It still makes doing it worth it. It just kind of sucks when you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna have these. You're gonna be able to get a blueprint and
Yeah.
money, and you're just like, oh okay, there'll be blueprints,
have
like
that.
random blueprints, and you're thinking maybe there's 5 or something, but 1. Like that's a
Yeah.
letdown to me. But it's a cool idea. So I'm hoping that
It's still
maybe
worth
it
it for the
does
money, though.
change every patch. I'd be super happy with that.
Yeah, I do think like
Yeah.
like a pool of 5 random ones, you might not get. You might get the same one, twice in a row, but at least give us the option to like
Right,
have a
have
chance
something.
of getting
Or even
another one. Yeah.
3. 3 I'd be
Yeah,
perfectly
3.
happy with.
Yeah.
Something different.
You know what? I think that's why they removed the key cards, because I think the suitcase
The contraband
replaced.
replaces it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only bunker that you can still do, right, is the one for the Mudrucker.
Yeah.
I believe.
The phones are still ringing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's the only thing
Because
you
it's
can
so
still do.
difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well leave it there. And plus, it's like people
Yeah.
are still trying to get it too, so it'd be kind of shitty if they just like stopped it.
Yeah. Like never
Um,
again to get that blueprint.
But yeah, like we were saying, the weapon balance like patch that's planned for mid-season. What was it? A Twitter post from
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah, and they generally always do a mid-season balance patch.
But the Growl finally
that's
might
not
get
really-
touched. Just it was
No.
insinuated
Right.
that it might be getting touched,
No.
and I think the MP5 might be with that too, because
Oh.
they got to
Yeah,
look
you're
at the
probably right
match
there.
history, and like the guy that initially
Yeah.
commented towards Activision and the person that responded, like hinting that the Growl is gonna get nerfed, was saying like, I'm tired of every kill cam being a Growl and an MP5.
It does get boring.
And it's like
and
I
old.
I guarantee over 70% of the game is those
Well,
two
see,
weapons.
So why does every gun need to be equal though?
But
It's like, I
John,
don't
It
get
doesn't.
So I-
look,
What?
Oh.
Huh?
but John, look
They-
at your game. Look at the way you change your gameplay. You went from LMG to ground now.
Yeah.
So
Well-
you're changing your play
Well, because
style
LMGs I
because you
play
like
because I
the
play
ground
LMG
now.
in the
So I think the
see if you
I
don't
think
have the
goal
growl.
of balancing. I think the goal of balancing isn't that every gun is equally as good.
Right,
It's,
because
I
the
think
growl
the
it
goal
doesn't
is
have a
that
good
every
kill.
gun has a place in the meta somewhere.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
The problem right now is that the Growl is too good at everything.
Right.
Right.
It's a sniper.
And you
It's
pair
a-
You pair it with a MP5 for close quarters engagement, and now you're basically ready to go for any type of engagement.
Right.
Right. Whereas like a
Yeah.
sniper rifle, right? It's great at long range, but you're severely hindered in close range.
Right.
And
Or even
same
mid-range.
goes for most of the other submachine guns. You're great in close range, but you're severely hindered in long range. And I think
The versatility is crazy.
it's just a matter of creating a balance where like your guns are good in different engagements,
Right.
which will then, because the problem created by the Growl is that every engagement becomes the same because everybody is just laser beaming each other with Growls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if you have some semblance of balance across all the different weapons, right, your engagement is now going to be different based on what you have and what the enemy has, right? Because you're going to have to make decisions around combat based on what tools you have available to you. And right now, it's not even just the Growl. I think a lot of other weapons need a pass too, the M4 being one of them. But you can basically just pick up one assault rifle and it fits all situations. And I
Yeah.
think that really needs to be touched. Like they need to, I think a lot of the assault rifles need to be hindered in their close range capability and their long range capability. And they need to be fine tuned for more of a middle engagement range style.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, again, you just fall into a situation where you throw the longest barrel and no stock on any assault rifle, and it's a submachine gun and a sniper at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be firing from sniper range and not having any recoil at all. That's like
But-
that's
No,
ridiculous.
I don't think that shouldn't change. If just because you're shooting at something far doesn't mean there's more recoil.
No, but I mean like
That-
you shouldn't be able to shoot that far and not have a drop off.
There
of
should
the
be
bullet.
enough. There should be enough damage drop and maybe
Right.
recoil to
No, because
a
I think
weapon
if
to-
they do nerf the Growl, you're just gonna have another Sniper Fest again.
But that's
It's
the
like
point of
there's
snipers.
there's no counter except for another
A
sniper. And that's
Right.
not fun.
Well,
because then you have people
the counter
camping
for a
on-
sniper is you break line of sight and you close distance.
Right, but that's kind of hard to
and-
do in a
and
very
maybe-
wide
so-
open map. You can
right,
do that
so
in
then
the
the question-
multiplayer, but
Or the debate
in VR.
becomes, or the problem becomes the map design and not necessarily weapon
Mhm.
balancing, right? Where it
Yeah.
becomes like the issue. And a lot of other battle royales saw the same issue, right? PUBG is a great example where the desert map came out and it was because of the desert, more open engagement type of style of the map, it meant that snipers were stronger than they were on the Erangel map.
right, and you can have
Right.
people more just camping around doing nothing.
Sure. I mean, I guess they still have to move eventually,
Hmm.
right? Because the circle's going to push them.
Yeah,
And maybe make the vehicles a little bit stronger to incentivize closing the distance.
I feel like vehicles
being
are
able to close the
really
distance.
strong though.
Yeah, I think vehicles are already pretty
That's
strong.
the thing. Like, especially when you throw a trophy system on them, they're basically immune, other than just shooting them down, and they take forever to kill. You're gonna bleed through your ammo. So I don't think that's the
yeah, because there's
issue.
nothing. I mean, it's like if you want to like make the snipers even more weak to counteract, making a all-purpose weapon like even weaker. Sure, but I don't get why that's needed, especially for such an open map.
I mean, they could.
If the issue is sniping, then what would be your solution to make the Growl less versatile, but also tackling the issue of being a sniper?
The problem isn't trying to make.
You could probably decrease the close combat.
Well, no. That's not.
Capability of
No.
it.
The Grouse shouldn't have the range it has. Period. That's not an argument. The way to fix the sniping issue is to fix the snipers. An HDR shouldn't have no bullet drop at 200 meters.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the
Okay, yeah.
realistic solution is to just make sniping harder,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Right. It should be a challenge at
because-
200 meters, 300 meters,
Yeah.
not a straight shot to
Yeah,
the
but they're
head.
not going to do that. They're not going to change the I guess the what is it,
Bread and butter,
physics
I
or
guess.
gameplay loop of the sniping.
But,
I mean, they could.
that's one issue John pointed out, but
'Cause
it's
if
not
I'm-
the Growl and the MP7 or the MP5 is not the main choice just to counter snipers. It's the main choice to counter everything.
It's
Right.
my main choice
Right,
to
but
counter
I think
snipers,
I think what John's saying is if they do the balancing pass in the way that I described, he's saying that it would just make snipers dominant
yeah.
in battle royale
reason why I
because of
stopped
the
using-
nature of the map.
Yeah, the reason why I stopped using LMGs is you can't use it as an LMG. LMGs to cover your teammates, right? If I'm shooting at a sniper, pointing at you, they shouldn't be able to sight back because I'm shooting. I'm
Yeah.
covering
Well,
you.
the,
Yeah,
just-
I mean, I
that's
suppose they could add
thing.
they could add suppression.
Yeah.
Well,
I
suppression,
don't think they
but
are either.
John, the solution for your issue is you put the LMG on and you put Frangile or whatever it's called, the one that
Frangile.
like
Yeah,
it
but that's
slows
an
them.
extra attachment that John has to waste just to counter one type of
But
gameplay.
which one?
That's
Which attachment?
I think it's called Frangile or something like that. Where it
Fragile wounding.
yes,
Oh, that
rounds,
doesn't. That's
they're
for
basically-
running. No, that's
No,
for
not
running.
wounding,
That doesn't
there's
do
another
It
anything.
stops enemies from running.
but there's another one,
Uh,
isn't there? That like
No,
no.
there's a running one, and
There's
there's also
one-
doesn't.
It
You
lowers
don't
heal.
heal. Yeah, you
Oh,
don't heal.
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So there is no suppression in Call of Duty.
so
So that's why I don't
mean,
use LMG anymore because it's like it's useless to use an LMG.
And
too
like
slow,
if you're
it's too
gonna
big.
use an LMG, you're basically gonna kit it out like an assault rifle.
Yeah,
like you're
exactly.
gonna kit it for speed.
It's just
But-
how Call of Duty's designed.
right.
So
It's not-
sniping aside is what I'm trying to get at. So we understand John's
right.
reluctance to nerf, but think about the Growl and the MP7 or MP5 in general. Why does everyone else choose to use it? Like at
I don't- I don't-
It's a spectrum. It's the
close
full
to
spectrum.
mid-range.
It covers
Yeah.
right around the door, all the way up into the
You're
trees on the
on-
other side of the map.
Exactly.
That's
You're
disgusting. You
automatically, if you choose any other kit other than those two weapons, you're automatically disadvantaged if you're set equal skill
Yeah.
base to someone else.
Basically,
Yeah.
like no other loadout is going to compete against that one loadout.
Right.
Whereas, like the way it should work is you should have a like loadout, and it's better than some loadouts, but worse than some loadouts.
Exactly.
Mhm.
You can't win all of them, but you can counter certain ones.
Right. And the other thing too, John, to take into account is I understand your point. Like if you're in an open field and you have 5 snipers pointing at you, that's frustrating and it sucks.
It is.
But if you're right at a sniper's face, you're gonna kill them with MP5
And-
or whatever.
It's a positioning thing as always,
Right.
and it's also like Joey mentioned, it's the map issue too.
Right.
It's not there's not enough.
Well, you
And
can't
cover.
change
it's
that
actually not
right now.
just the map issue too. It's also the nature of the way the game works, where
Yeah.
everybody can run up to a loadout crate and get themselves their fully kitted sniper, right?
Mhm.
Whereas like snipers are inherently power weapons, right? They're generally speaking power weapons
Yeah.
in
So that's why
every
I don't.
game, right?
So Growl is a power weapon too. That's why I don't care that.
Right.
If you can have a
So-
sniper, I should be able to have an all-purpose, long
Right.
distance
My
mid-range weapon.
point is that maybe loadouts need to go, or maybe snipers aren't allowed in loadouts, or something along those lines, right? And I think that it's not just snipers. I feel like some other things need to get that as well, like
Yeah.
for instance the RPG, and like launchers.
Yeah,
in
but if
general.
they start limiting what can be in the loadout, then they're just better off taking it out.
Yeah.
Right, I
Which
suppose you're
we've
right.
seen in Battle Royale Classic.
Yeah,
it works. Like snipers are awesome in that game because you can't
They're
just,
rare.
call
They're
them in.
very, very
They're really rare.
Yeah.
Like,
And when you come up against one, you're like, oh crap, this is like a serious situation.
But
One
when
in
you
3
come up
games.
against it, it's
Yeah.
I'll get
it's
one.
one person on the other team.
Yeah,
with it,
exactly.
right?
It's
It's
you can
not
deal with it.
all of them.
Yeah.
So you can, because there's only one person, they can only keep their targets on one target at any given time, allowing the rest of your team to maneuver and close the distance.
Yeah. It's
Right.
like with the current meta of the game of the normal battle royale, it's like I don't see why you would nerf the growth just because you're getting killed by a lot. Oh, you get killed a lot by snipers. Do you want to take out all the snipers? Like I don't, It's like what
But
the heck?
see,
Or
But
you
that's-
nerf the snipers.
It's a group
Yeah.
of guns, John. It's not one gun.
Yeah, it's an annoying thing to get sniped in a terrible position, but it does happen, and
Yeah, too.
I hate it. But there
it
are
sucks to get hit by a
there's
crew
ways
when
to
you're
get
sniping.
around. There's ways
it's like
to
I could
get
say the same
around
thing.
it too. There's ways to get around it. Is you have to plan your route way ahead of getting into that position.
I feel like there's
Or
counterplay to snipers.
Or they can just nerf snipers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I feel like
but-
both
Like,
your
so-
excuses are the same
realistically-
excuses as my excuses. It's like
No,
it's back and
like,
forth.
But I don't
It's-
hate
it's-
assault
but-
rifles. I
like
hate
so
the
so
ground.
my answer was in terms of trying to play the meta now and
Yeah.
trying to still play it post growl nerf if there is one, is you got to outplay him by being tactical and playing the strategy correctly. So always finding a high ground, always finding cover, always planning to find cover if you need to expose yourself. And if you count that, there's a possibility to fight snipers post or pre growl nerf if there is one.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But when you come with a team with 3 snipers, right?
It's annoying, yes.
I'm not saying that it's not
you
annoying. I
can't-
just think it's
yeah.
far less annoying than going against 3 people with growls.
But at the same, so John, that's your play style. You rarely use sniper rifles. PJ and I don't mind using sniper rifles.
I
I
can
float
counter that,
around
yeah.
between. So it depends. Like we've found solutions to that. There's only certain situations where it's a dire situation and we can't get out of it, and we're probably gonna die because they have a superior position and all 3 are sniping. But it's all like a floating point of contention where we don't know if we have the right variables to win or not.
Yes.
I don't know.
All right.
We'll see.
And with
We'll
that,
see what happens with that.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll
think-
see what happens.
yeah, I think
Dude,
we'll go
it's
ahead
all
and
what ifs.
close
It's all what ifs.
out
But you have
Call of
convinced
Duty
me.
Corner and move on.
Nerf the growl.
Nerf the
No.
growl.
Don't nerf all. Take out all the sniper rifles.
Just to get rid of
Just-
all the guns.
just get rid of all
Yeah.
Just
guns.
all of them.
Melee only. Melee only Warzone.
Oh god, just
And
turn it
knives.
into the calling.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways, what else do we have,
Okay.
Joey?
Moving on. Microsoft
Oh.
is getting rid of Mixer. Not getting rid of, they're just shutting it
Oh,
down.
wow.
Just
no! I wonder
like
why.
Mixer is just gone. They announced this over Twitter. They are closing down Mixer and basically like partnering with Facebook Gaming.
That was just
it's
all of a sudden too. I find that
more
funny.
of an
Not really.
acquisition
Acquisition. Yeah.
where Facebook Gaming is kind of taking on all of Mixer's partner contracts and having to fulfill them one to one, unless the person opts out, right? As Ninja and Shroud did. So basically, for them, Mixer was forced to pay out their entire contracts,
Oh, whoa.
and now they're essentially free agents who can go
So they got the
Whatever they
money.
want. Yep.
stream wherever they want.
They only invested 6 months of their time on Mixer
Yeah.
and got millions of dollars in their name
And
and,
they
And then
get
you
the
can just
option
go
to go
back.
anywhere.
Yeah.
30
Wow.
million for Ninja.
So-
That
But
is
so before we move
crazy.
on to that, PJ, I don't think it was out of nowhere. I think the writing was on the wall because
It wasn't
there wasn't any
performing
there
well.
wasn't any effort
Yeah.
on the end
Yeah.
of Mixer or
Except to getting
Microsoft
these
to
big people.
I don't know.
incentivize people more because they were already at a disadvantage.
The problem with
they
Mixer-
had
Right. I don't
few
think that's the
viewers.
problem.
What else
I
are they
think the
going to do?
problem, because I think that Microsoft did everything that they could to try to like get people to come over and watch stuff on Mixer, right? Through whether it's through like incentivizing people by giving them like bonuses on Xbox Live for watching it on their Xbox, or whatever else their advertising efforts and stuff like that. I think the like reality of it is that like Mixer just like started the race with like a sprained ankle, so they were never really able to catch up,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's like Twitch already has a huge install base and is like the go-to thing when you think of like I'm gonna watch live streaming video game stuff, right? And we're talking about like year over year growth, right? So like new viewers, like person who's like I don't really watch streaming content, I'm gonna watch some streaming content. Their like initial go-to is Twitch because that's the streaming platform, right? And then you have YouTube and Facebook, right, who are inherently going to get viewers by the nature of their install bases,
Right.
Because there are like YouTubers who maybe don't want to make a Twitch account and want to bank on their already successful YouTube channel and their subscriber count, so they just start streaming on YouTube Gaming, right?
It's convenient. They
And
already have the viewers.
Yeah, and Facebook Gaming, I hear a little and read a little bit. I guess Facebook Gaming is really big in the Asian markets.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
But even still, like I know of people who stream on Facebook Gaming just because they're big, like they're on Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
So their like go-to thing to do is like, well, I'll just stream on Facebook.
But also with Facebook Gaming, it's only a small inkling of their service compared to so Facebook doesn't have to invest too much. It can naturally grow on its own, and they're willing to wait for as long as they need. But with Mixer, Microsoft went all in, trying to grab a giant piece of that market, and it didn't work because all the viewership was already established on these other platforms that we just mentioned.
See, the thing for Mixer for me that like I noticed that probably made it fail the hardest, it's like three main components. They only had a few big names, and all the rest of it was just a bunch of people that just could turn on an Xbox and go straight into streaming. So it was a lot of like nobodies. The name did not.
That's not very nice.
No, but I'm just saying it's reality. It's just a bunch of people streaming to one person, and there's a lot of that on Twitch too. But it's more. It was so much more on Mixer, and it's just like who's gonna go looking through hundreds of people? They're gonna go watch Ninja or Shroud.
There was a huge gap in between the big players and
it was like 1%.
the new
just like mid-range.
the new streamers.
Right.
So there's no option for you to find somebody interesting and new because some of them were
You got okay.
inexperienced.
So you either got the A list or the Z list.
Exactly.
Kind of
Whereas
thing.
on Twitch there is
Nothing in
variety.
between.
The second thing is the name. The name does not scream gamer to me. It screams
it
like
doesn't seem like a
dating
streaming
website.
or everything. Yeah.
It sounds like a social mixer, or like a
Honestly,
business mixer.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I didn't know to that point. I didn't know what the heck Mixer was when it was like everybody was talking about
Right.
it. Like, what kind of name is that? You're like, you're
it
bound
hurt
to
them
fail
really hard.
already.
So that's number 2, and that probably is
I
their
didn't even think of that. Yeah,
biggest
you're right.
point. But the third thing is just they started with nothing, like Joey was saying. There's no reason to do it. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go buy an Xbox to stream on Mixer when you already have a Twitch, or you can make a Twitch account.
Wait, can you stream with a PC or
on Mixer?
or
I
other devices?
think so, but it's like, so the biggest thing with my first point, that someone can just turn it on. There's no barrier to entry with it. That like anyone can just turn it on and do it. Whereas I feel like there's a little bit of a barrier to entry to streaming on Twitch. I know that consoles
There's not.
a little bit less, but I feel like there's a quality like difference from Twitch to Mixer. When I went on Mixer, I would go through random streams. Every single one of them was crap microphones that like had some kid screaming in the background, or like the person wasn't even talking and you just heard random music playing. It was an Xbox experience. Whereas you go on Twitch and you're just like, oh, okay, this person at least has a decent microphone. They're playing a game. You can hear the game volume because you have OBS and you have XSplit. And like,
not always though. You can stream straight out from a PlayStation or an Xbox.
You can, but that person has 0 viewers, and you're more likely they're going to be so pushed far to the bottom past all the people that have 1 or 2 viewers. You're not going to even see them. Whereas Mixer, it felt like it was kind of all over the board, and you just clicked on random stuff to find people.
Well, so
it was the
really
UI
what it is. Well, no, what it is that Twitch, because of the amount of its viewer base, right? It has room for that middle tier streamer, right?
That's true.
Yeah. Whereas Mixer doesn't have the viewer base.
So it adds.
So you have the big streamers who pull in their viewer base, who is only there to watch them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have
everybody else.
Just a bunch of other people that, like you said, are just streaming out from their Xbox.
So
there is no viewer base there to watch any mid-tier stream.
Right, so that's
they
point
didn't
one.
incentivize any mid-tier streamers at all.
That's what I'm saying. They put
all
their money into 1% of their people, and that brought people over to watch them. But like, your 80% of people that are going to be on there are going to be from those mid-tier streamers. Like, you're going to gain a huge audience from those people. That's what's going to keep people there. When Ninja's not streaming, no one's on. Yeah. No one's watching it.
I don't know,
what you need to do is create a community. You didn't create a community. You created interest
in a person
through Ninja and Shroud. And you created convenience through making it easy to stream via console. It's a console streaming platform, but that's all they got.
Yeah, it felt like Xbox. Like I said before, I felt like I was in an Xbox game lobby anytime I entered a stream, and that felt gross.
That sounds horrible.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I shouldn't have to listen to this random guy's music if I'm looking for a cool stream to watch. And it's like, that's my choice to go in there, granted, but
And not only that, I don't mind beating. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse while it's down and dead, but Mixer, the interface was terrible.
It was bad.
Like,
the UI was
browsing was terrible.
Yeah, I have to agree.
And then viewing experience was
felt
terrible.
Like it
for
was
some
a rushed
reason,
out product that they had to compete.
For some reason, there was only half a screen that I can view while someone else was offline.
For like a dual. It's a cool idea. I think dual streams where you can watch 2 streams of the same game at the same time is cool. But for some reason, sometimes that one of them would drop out, so you're just ended up watching half of a stream. Yeah, it was weird.
It should fix.
See, that's the thing. That's why I'm saying that Mixer could have been something. It could have been like a great place, a great platform, and a great competitor to all these other platforms, but it wasn't executed. It wasn't pushed hard enough by Microsoft. they needed to do much more because it like coming to I see what they were trying to do. There was just no hook, no hook for the middle guys.
I want to be honest. I don't think it mattered how good it was or how big of a push that they made. There was no way that it was going to be successful.
No.
Just because, and not because it's bad, but just because the other competitors have such a head start on them.
Yeah. They established the community.
Yeah, that Microsoft was never able to catch up.
Yeah.
And they have no, like I kind of said earlier in describing the other platform, they had no like hook, right?
Mhm.
They had no pull that was like getting people to watch people on Mixer, other than, hoping that the big streamers. I think the idea is, right, you get Shroud, right, and like Ninja, and then some of those people, like, if they're kind of bored of watching them, will like trickle out across the rest of the service, right?
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that happened, right? Because obviously those people are like diehard stands for those specific streamers, right?
Yeah.
So then maybe the question is, would it have been better to try to poach a bunch of more mid-tier streamers?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But then the question becomes, are their fan bases going to follow? Because I do know of streamers that like went to Mixer, and I just stopped watching their streams and kind of forgot about
Yeah,
them.
because
same.
the quality
Yeah, I
was
feel like
so
if-
bad. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Well, the website
If
quality.
you're
Or I just didn't even really know that they like switched to Mixer necessarily.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true. It could have been
and the
handled
people that
better.
jump shipped with like Ninja and stuff, they're jumping ship just to watch Ninja, so they're
Yeah.
not gonna go watch other people.
And plus, as a viewer on Twitch, I already have the library of streamers that I like, and it's already established for me. And why do I have to rebuild my own library as a viewer on Mixer?
It's an opportunity cost for you.
Right.
I'm wasting my time.
I'm
to
starting
start
over.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And like YouTube has the big head start on their end of just pulling from your subscribers.
right. So you're not
So,
hurting
like,
anybody with YouTube, because you're gonna have YouTube anyhow. If you watch online content, YouTube's already
yeah,
there.
exactly.
So, and Twitch and YouTube kind of go hand in hand at this point. I think they already realized that. But it feels, I don't know. We'll see how Facebook does. I think it's funny as hell that you look back and you look at MySpace and everyone's like, oh, MySpace was going to be this big, huge thing because they started doing MySpace music and bands and all this other crap. And it's just like, MySpace is not dead, and it still does some music stuff, but
I
who has an
mean,
account
even
there anymore?
around that time that you're talking about, MySpace was dead.
Well, yeah, no, but what
Because,
I'm
like-
talking about is like people perceived it as much bigger than it was. Whereas now you look at Facebook and it's just like Facebook is the center of a lot of social media.
I don't think that anybody on the ground perceived it bigger than it was. The only people who perceived it any bigger than it was were the people who owned the property.
I guess that's true. Like Tom.
Like,
Yeah.
and maybe this is just speaking from experience or from like my personal experience at the time and like the feeling of people around me. But like when Faceball started to gain traction and snowball, MySpace was dead. Like it was just dead.
Mhm.
And
People are
even,
already jumping ship.
and around that time, like other music platforms were like starting to get off the ground. So even the idea of MySpace as a music platform was kind of like, why?
Right.
Who
It was lame
cares?
for
That was just they're trying to like resuscitate themselves. And by the way, anyone that didn't
I think-
understand that,
yeah.
Faceballs is Facebook. Just
It was just a
letting you know,
mess.
'cause I
They
was lost.
they
No, it's
they
not.
didn't have the proper direction. Like, not everybody wanted music driven social
They
media.
needed to
So-
do what Facebook is doing now and somehow opt
Facebook
into another
was
media.
social.
Right.
Yeah, social and news and whatnot and articles. and
MySpace
it worked.
stayed the way it was for too long. The only thing I can say that I miss from MySpace is the customization on
Top
the
8?
pages.
Yeah, the
Oh,
personal
wow.
pages.
But
I learned a lot of
it's
HTML
not
from that.
worth it for the amount of work that you had to put in order to change it, and you felt like you had to change
Yeah.
it every few months. Otherwise, people were like, "Man, your page is like so last year."
Imagine like MySpace now would be like monetized up the ass.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well, it
And like
probably
you
is.
wouldn't have
Oh,
custom
yeah.
skins. You would just I don't know if MySpace even exists now.
Let's go find out.
They
I
Hey, you
think
can
it
type it in and look it
does.
up.
But
But
Anyway,
anyways,
yeah. So also,
let's go. I want to
I don't
talk about.
wait before we
Oh,
move
go ahead.
forward. I want to say
I
that
know. I
like
don't want
this
to.
is. Oh, you don't want to move forward.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was gonna say this
Not
is like really bad for a lot of the employees because like apparently a lot of like the back end employees, like the people who work on like UI and like stuff like that, found out through the tweet.
Wait, really? Oh, I hate
Yeah.
when companies do
Wow.
that. It's
They
so
didn't even do
effed up.
an internal memo. What the
That
hell?
is
Yeah.
messed
And,
up as
like,
I
hell.
didn't know that.
And a lot of partners, the same thing for a lot of partners.
Wow.
Drifter made a video about it
Jeez.
today. So yeah, a lot of them just kind of like woke up this morning and found out that
Terrible.
they don't have a job anymore.
Jeez.
Worst.
So that sucks,
Yeah.
and that's super shitty of Microsoft. But you know,
So, back to Ninja and Shroud. I want to speculate where they're probably going to go towards as far as streaming goes. Ninja has a huge following on YouTube, so I think that would be a natural progression. And then
Man.
I don't think he will go back to Twitch because of the way they separated themselves. Twitch just went all BM on Ninja for jumping ship to Mixer. But
yeah,
Shroud,
and Twitch tends to be super vindictive too about things. So you know,
And-
Wait, Twitch is a person?
no,
yeah.
like the staff at Twitch,
Oh.
right? The
Yeah.
management, the upper management.
It's kind of hilarious
I
how
didn't follow that stuff.
how
so I don't-
petty they were towards him.
Yeah,
though.
Really?
didn't you know businesses are people, John? It even
Wow.
says so in our like laws.
I thought it was
Oh,
like
right.
Skynet.
Yeah, corporate.
So
But anyways, Shroud, I think because they parted, Twitch and Shroud parted ways amicably. I still can't say that well. I think Shroud might have potential to go back to Twitch. That's
Yeah,
my
I think
thought.
I agree with you. I think it makes a lot of sense for Shroud to just go back
I
to
see
Twitch.
Ninja going to
Nice.
YouTube, like you were saying.
And I
Joey.
do see Ninja going to YouTube.
It's 24, almost 24 million.
Yeah, it wouldn't
subscribers.
be
How much do you
worth
think
going anywhere else. for 'em.
YouTube's going to pay him?
Probably quite a bit. I mean, they might as well. Look how many think a stream.
Just to lock him in?
Yeah, a stream.
Yeah.
24 million. He's gonna at least get 1 to 5% of that every stream. But to put a
Yeah.
nail in the coffin on this discussion, MySpace has become a
Oh, no.
cheap Yahoo like or like news website. That's all it's become. I was
Oh, wow.
looking at it just now. It's like news on music and videos and stuff like that, and that's all it is anymore.
You know what the nail in the coffin is for MySpace? Another one was the security data hack that they experienced, where they deleted everyone's
Oh, that's right.
data accidentally. Like, well, how else are you gonna sabotage yourself, MySpace? Like, what the heck?
Oh.
You don't even have
Oh,
your old
that's what
profiles
happened?
to go back.
I was wondering. I was like, I'm trying to
nostalgically.
log in just to see what it looks like. I didn't make another account because it's like God knows I'm never going to use it. But I was like trying to log in, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I know this is my password, and it wasn't doing.
Nope,
it.
your account doesn't exist anymore,
That
dog.
explains
Like, they're
it.
trying.
Your
they're,
top
they're
8
trying to
gone.
lock in their
No, my
frickin'
old
coffee.
website, all that work I put in. That was like 2 hours of
no.
like HTML.
All that CSS.
My
Yeah.
emo music
Oh,
playlist
man,
on my
I
profile
know.
page.
And
I
then
don't
your
have any
top
more
friends.
lost profits
good
and
times.
stuff. Anyhow.
Wait, what?
Oh god.
Good
Okay.
times. We're aging ourselves, by the way.
I
But,
barely use
let's move
Go
MySpace.
for it,
on.
Joey.
Anywho, more to gaming, more
RIP
on
Mixer.
gaming news.
And MySpace.
CD Projekt Red has announced that they have pushed back the launch date for
Again.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh no!
You know what? Good for
It
them.
is now
Make a better game.
November.
Yeah. Avoid a No Man's Sky.
Yeah, polish their game up.
Yeah,
November
but
19th.
November 19th. So that's
The
like 2-3
week-
months almost.
the week
Is that
before
when
Black
Halo
Friday.
Came out? Halo 3?
But so
Oh,
so
excuse
if
me.
you read their actual statement, it's very corporate in terms of like and kind of like, why do you need like 3 months to fix things? Like, you've had what 5 years, 6 years to prepare this. Like, what is game breaking, or is
Oh,
this
it's
a
a big game.
corporate?
It's it's an
corporate-
open world big game. They probably added like a cat to one area, and the whole game just doesn't turn on now. That's honestly
I
what
want to
could
hear the
happen.
conspiracy theory. Shh. Go on.
Okay,
go on,
good.
go on.
Go on. That's it. Like,
Oh,
what
oh,
I
okay.
want to know, like, is it a game breaking thing, like you guys are saying, or are they trying to be tactical about the release?
It could be both.
Like, what
Release.
what do you
It could be
think?
both.
Yeah,
Like they just want to fix the
And
game.
it might just be polishing
Right.
too.
Polishing.
Like it might not necessarily be that there's a bunch of game breaking
And
bugs,
that cat
but
in the
like
alleyway.
like a good example is like we like to shit on, or like not we, but like
I
the
do.
collective we of like video gamers,
I do,
like
yeah.
video game playing public likes to shit on Bethesda
Yeah.
games for how buggy they are.
Oh, they are so
Right?
Oh,
Right? They're
agreed.
really buggy. Right? Imagine if Bethesda games had 6 extra months after
Oh, wow.
they go
Nice.
gold
That's crazy.
just for like bug fixing. And like obviously it's maybe
I mean,
not
they
the
wouldn't
best
do it,
example
but-
You
because
could only dream.
and
I don't think that will
it's
fix
also
anything.
part of the problem is like
Yeah,
the,
they will.
the games run on a bad engine,
Yeah, that's the main
right? But just bear with me for the example, right? Cyberpunk might be in a state where like it's technically fine and runs and doesn't have any game breaking bugs, but it has some jankiness here and there, and they would rather delay the game for 3 more months to go in and fix some of that jankiness
Does-
than release a janky product that people are
Right.
going to look at and laugh
Does
at.
Bethesda games run on Unity?
No, they
No,
run on
so-
their own game engines.
Yeah.
It's like called the Game Brio engine.
Because
It's old.
It's
What
bad.
what did
Bad.
Brink run on? Brink was Unity, was it not?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Brink ran on like Unreal 3 or something like
I just
that.
feel like there's certain engines that are really finicky.
I don't think Unity was around at the time.
Okay.
Brink was id Tech 4.
Okay, id Tech 4.
Okay. I'm just
That makes more
I
sense.
feel
Scott.
like there's certain engines that are finicky, like they can be super good in the right hands, but in the wrong hands, it is a fucking train wreck. And I feel like
you only have that feeling about Unity because Unity is the engine that a lot of people make like student games on, so you
Yeah,
get a lot of
it's-
like trash that ends up on the Steam store.
Oh
when-
yeah.
In
Good,
reality,
talented people,
Unity
yeah.
is actually a really
That's
good
what I'm
engine
saying.
that's very easy to
that's
work with.
what I'm saying. Like Unity is a good example of that. There's other ones too. Like I feel like Unreal is a good example of that because like there are some trash games that are made with Unreal, but it's a fantastic
yeah.
engine. So I mean that's my 2 cents on it. But I'm disappointed. I'm interested and excited for Cyberpunk specifically because like I know John wants to play it on
Mhm.
stream and I can't wait to see him
Oh
play
yeah.
it.
Well, I don't care because there's so many games to play. It's like
Yeah.
if this
Oh,
game
wow.
comes out, there's
Yeah,
so many
that's the
other games
thing.
I can't play. So it's like
I
I don't.
know.
If a game company wants to sit down and polish your
Yeah,
game,
and I'm fine with that too.
go ahead and take as
Yeah,
long
'cause
as you
it-
want.
it's
'cause
better-
I have all these other
It's better
things
that you wait
piling up.
and
Yeah.
it's a good game than being excited, getting it, and being disappointed by it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm still excited for it, and I'm glad
Like,
that
what's
they're
the
taking time.
Miyamoto quote that everybody references? Like, a rushed game is bad forever, or a
Yeah.
delayed game is good, but a rushed game is bad forever.
Yeah.
So true.
Because even this patches, you're still gonna have that, it's still, the whole
Yeah.
No Man's Skies effect. I still see
mean-
it as a bad game, but it's fixed. But just,
Yeah, that's what I don't
yeah.
understand why people do get angry that
Yeah.
things get delayed. It's
Yeah.
like I always see it
Yeah,
as a
I'm
good
not
thing,
angry
too.
about it. I'm
I
just
just-
disappointed. That's the difference for me, and
Yeah.
I think that I feel like that might be the
Be sad,
sentiment out
but-
there. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that are just like John, like, oh, sorry, they're like hurrahing the fact that the game's gonna hopefully be better. We don't know. It could be already
Yeah.
printed,
Yeah.
put or not printed, but like put onto disc or ready for download, and just gonna.
It's probably not put on
well,
disc.
you know what I mean? It's
the
sitting
future.
there and it's ready to be shipped. It's just gonna sit there for 5 months. That's
Do we know
possible.
if the company's like also like?
I
working
mean,
from
that's
home or something?
unlikely.
it's unlikely,
Wait,
but
go
I'm
ahead,
not
John.
saying it. You got to agree that it's possible. Like they're just like, oh, let's
Not
sit on it.
Right, but like they wouldn't just like. I
Why
see what
would-
you're saying. Like,
why would they
push
wait?
the date back for like a business decision of like when like launching it in a better window?
Oh yeah, exactly.
But they wouldn't just
Well,
waste that
When was the
time.
initial launch
Right.
date? August.
September 17th
September.
or something.
I mean, September is such a weird month to
It's
launch.
gotten pushed back multiple times. I think it was like July
Yeah, it was
before.
like-
or
So, yeah,
something
that's
like
a
that,
weird
and
one,
got
too.
pushed back to
Better sense.
September and then got pushed back
Well,
again.
summer's a pretty good time to.
It is,
release
but
game,
the
too, 'cause you have
Yeah.
if
summer
you
break.
do it right, like June, fine, May's
Yeah.
fine. Once you hit July, then people are already getting ready for school, and like
Yeah.
all of the parents are spending money on school clothes and stuff. If you hit May or June, people are like, "Oh, I'm gonna be out of school in a few weeks, Mom. Can I go get this
I
game?"
don't.
PJ, it's
PJ,
a rated game with penises.
Yeah,
in
we're
it.
talking about
It
Cyberpunk,
doesn't
dude. Like,
16-year-olds.
it's not the market.
You can choose the size of your character's
Oh, you
penis.
can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's not a.
PJ's interested.
So-
Intrigued.
Okay, fine. Axe that, but I'm making a point in general. Like the game,
Yeah.
they're still
Yeah.
looking at those charts. Let's be realistic. They're a game company. They're a company. They're gonna look at charts. They're gonna look at sales in each
Yeah.
month. November obviously is gonna
Also-
be the best no matter what.
Well, I'll see. That's what I wanted to point out is that
But
this is
like-
a PS5 or PS4 game, and they're trying to plan the release near the new PS5.
See, that makes no
release.
sense to me.
Yeah, and the thing is it's like this is
If
why
that's the
I
reason.
think that they're not just pushing it back for the sake of like pushing it back, right? Because like
Yeah.
like you say that about November, right? And like, yeah, you're right. November holiday season, blah blah blah, good, right? But we've seen over the past like decade more and more games getting out of that holiday window,
Yeah.
right? And either pushing themselves into like August or September, or pushing themselves back into January, February, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because like if we
Go
go
on.
back to like the mid 2000s, those holiday seasons were so like just filled with games.
Oversaturated.
It was so oversaturated that most of the time most games didn't have any, there wasn't enough oxygen in the room
Yeah.
left
If-
for most
if-
games to breathe because the bigger ones took it all.
Yeah, if Jimmy's parents can only afford to buy one game, all the other game
Why not get the one with the
developers
big
or
penis?
publishers are gonna miss out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like Cyberpunk can release whenever and do fine.
It's
Yeah.
such a big
Like
game.
I think Cyberpunk
Let
is
me-
like the nature of it
Rephrase
and
big
like
penis and
the
the big
studio.
vagina release.
Uh-huh.
It just means that like it doesn't matter that they could release it
yeah.
any time of the year and it's still gonna sell as good.
Yeah, it's a super hyped game.
As-
Maybe at this point they're just trying to hype it more. I don't know. It's all speculation.
Yeah, it's all publicity. Any
Yeah.
publicity
Or-
is publicity.
It's a little bit janky and they need to
Yeah.
fix it.
Yeah, it's a big game.
I think it's jank.
game.
I think they added a cat in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be if
Unless
it doesn't get pushed into 2021, a highlight of this
We'll
year.
look for it in 2020 or 2077.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
All right, let's
Yes.
move on. Pokemon Snap.
Oh,
There's a new
yeah.
Pokemon
Snap.
Snap,
My
everybody.
I'm so
childhood.
excited.
Ah.
I've been craving playing
Childhood.
Pokemon Snap, and
Oh,
finally,
it's gonna be a stream game. I can be a cameraman, an actual cameraman.
Wait, hold on. Before we continue, has everyone's played Pokemon Snap before,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yes, I think so. Anyway,
If not, you've been deprived of your childhood.
Mhm.
I watched this live at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh.
So dedicated.
Yeah, I tend to try to watch the Pokemon pressers like when they happen, even if they're like 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever, because it's like it's perfect because you're like loopy, and the Pokemon press conferences will sometimes be bizarre. But so like right off the bat, they go into Pokemon Smile, and I'm like, all right, it's gonna be one of these press
that
conferences.
was so weird,
Oh,
but it's
man.
cool. I mean,
Um,
it's good for parents.
It's a game for kids, yeah, parents.
But then they do that like cafe like mobile game thing, which kind of looks
Yeah.
alright, right? But then
Yeah.
they switch to like the Pokemon Snap trailer, and like immediately, I was like, "This looks like a Pokemon Snap." Even before like the cameras came up, I was like, just something about like all the Pokemon in the environment.
Yeah.
I was like, "This looks like a Pokemon
yeah.
Snap, and then sure enough,
Nothing's getting
Pikachu
past
eating
Joey.
an
It's
apple.
funny because
Yeah.
like in those games, they make the Pokemon act like such deities. Like they're just standing there, like walking
But
in
that was
circles
the
and doing
awesome
dumb
thing
things.
about it.
You mean like
Like-
the
They're very
Like they would die. They would die if you didn't toss them
well,
apples.
no.
Or
Okay,
you hit them and then they fall.
so
off-
maybe it's
off
just
cliff.
the old game. I think it's gonna be a lot better now. But like the old game, it was very
No, I
like
know what you're saying, they're
mechanical.
dirty.
And
Like when they're
it was
running.
kind of like
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
on the Small World ride, but with Pokemon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if
Yeah.
it's gonna
Like-
be
But
that
that
way.
was the charm of it. How derpy they
Right,
were.
and it was funny. I'm just intrigued
Yeah.
to see if they like make. Obviously, the movement's gonna be more fluid and stuff, but I want to see if they do like a little bit more with it. But I'm super
Yeah.
stoked about this. I've
Oh,
beaten Pokemon Snap a few times.
Can I
Go
complain?
for it.
Go on.
Oh, who's developing it again?
Probably same company, Nintendo.
Bandai Namco.
Oh, okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. No, wait. That wasn't the same one as last.
No,
the
it
old
was-
one, right?
The original
The old one was
developers
developed by
was
HAL.
HAL
yeah,
Laboratory.
Smash Brothers people, right? Yeah. Okay. So I was watching this. It's cool, very nostalgic. I do not like the animation.
Oh no.
It looks really bad. As a person that loves animation, these are some of the most jankiest, like kind of old old school 3D animation
But that's
techniques
the
I've
charm
seen.
of it.
I was hoping something like much more fluid.
Advanced.
And because like even when they turn, usually you have like you blend it into with a turn cycle. It literally just pivots.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
while
And
it's
that's
still,
what I was talking
doing
about.
the walk
It
cycle.
literally
It's like,
feels like
I
they're
do not-
mannequins or
it's
puppets.
2020.
It reminds me of Pokemon Snap. Okay, John.
Yeah, it's 2020. It's like you should
okay
have
with
better
it.
animation text. I mean, I hope it's
accept
just as like alpha or something. It's not.
Yeah,
final.
even when
No,
like
I hope they
Pikachu's
polish it
eating
up.
the apple, like he takes a bite
Yeah,
and
he
like
just-
a
he
chunk
just-
comes out, and then he eats it. He takes another bite, and the whole thing's
What
gone.
you see, what you
Yeah.
see is what you get, John. Sorry.
I think this is how the game's
But I'm still
gonna
gonna play it because I like photography.
Wait,
uh,
wait. Does Nintendo have VR?
Yeah.
Is there potential for VR for this?
Well, no,
game?
no, not
Is
on
that
the
what-
Switch.
Oh
No,
no.
I'm thinking
Oh,
for the
okay.
next console.
They kind of do. They have a Labo camera
Oh, Labo camera, fancy.
that would probably be perfect for this game.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So to go back in history, the original Pokemon Snap was
99.
released in 1999
damn.
Oh,
for
wow.
the
I knew
N64.
that shiz.
Hashtag my childhood.
Yeah, that was one of the 2 games I had on my N64.
Yeah, I love how you
Wow.
went out and spent like all the money on the N64, but you refused to spend the money on the games.
I didn't. My parents
Right.
did. They're like, we bought you the console. Why do we have to buy more things for you? So well, technically we had 3 games. One of them was a basketball game, which I never played. My brother did.
Street?
And the other one's a
Oh,
Smash
wait,
Brothers.
Street
Why?
Yeah.
Why
And
though? Like,
Snap.
why did you
I
have
was gonna
basketball?
say.
Because my brother.
Well, David.
Also, I
Oh,
was gonna say, why couldn't you just explain to your parents, like, well, that's like buying a VCR and then not going and buying any
You know what?
like tapes for it?
You were a smart kid then.
Yeah. I guess at that age you probably wouldn't think of like an example to make them feel dumb for the things that they
Yeah.
did.
But I'm like, why don't you buy it? And like, you don't need more video games, just players. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just go back to Snap.
Yeah, and then you played Snap 500 times.
I'll just play through Pokemon Snap again.
Also, I didn't play it
Yeah.
a lot either.
Yeah, but maybe you would have
So,
if you had
it's probably.
more games.
I think it was like only weekends. No, it was only weekends or something. I was like playing.
Oh,
games. And usually I'm playing with friends.
Oh.
So
because David was hogging the
Yeah.
basketball game the whole
I
time.
didn't
Oh,
think David would be a
I don't even
person to
remember.
play a basketball game. That's so weird.
well, it's
So-
like
David
you know,
does
just
like
when you
basketball a lot.
when you buy a big console like that, you try to get it for all the siblings, right? It's like I wouldn't
Oh,
I wouldn't
true.
buy like expensive things just
He
for
wouldn't
one
play
kid.
Pokemon
But
Snap.
did David really want a basketball game?
Yeah.
Guys,
He
who
played
cares
Pokemon.
about
Wait,
David?
No,
why do you
I
care
don't
about
know.
we
my
gotta
yeah,
understand
This is not the
David.
David podcast. Get out of here.
No
Ah.
offense to David,
Oh,
but
no,
like,
It's just like
no, it's total
basketball.
offense to David.
Basketball.
We shouldn't talk
of
about
all
it.
games.
Anyway, so do you guys think this is going to like follow the stages of the original? As in, do you think it's like a remake, or do you think it's like a totally brand new game with brand new like stages,
It might have
and
some
brand new
old
order
ones.
and stuff like
I
that?
think
Yeah,
both.
I think-
I would hope. I was hoping there's like
They're
some
gonna add
nostalgic.
some tropes.
and
And
some-
it better
yeah,
be
and
longer than
some
5
some
hours.
challenges.
It better be at least like
Oh,
a
yeah.
f- you know a few stage game that you can continue playing
Because
through.
if I remember, Pokemon
It was
Snap
5 hours.
had specific photos that you needed to
Right.
take to advance or at least win a
Right.
challenge.
No, there was
Uh,
usually like some kind of thing that you would have to interact with on the map to open up the next map.
Oh,
Right. So it'd be
okay.
like there'd be like a button that you needed to hit, or you needed to
That's
like
why.
lure a Pokemon to a certain spot to do something.
That's
And
why I was so annoyed with that game when I was
Yeah.
young.
Yeah. Hey, that's the thing. It's like with the internet now, this game, if it's the same style or
Yeah.
they use the same formula, it's gonna be so easy to finish just because you can just Google it.
Just
Back
buy
then,
another Game Informer magazine with the
right?
cheat.
Yeah. Back then, it's like it lasted so long for me just because I had to trial and error it.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know if they're gonna
That was the
switch it up.
beauty of it. Yeah.
What's your guys' favorite stage from the original?
I don't remember anymore.
I wanna
The
say
one with the Pikachu?
The first level?
All of them had Pikachu. Which one's the
That's
beach
the
one?
first
No,
level.
there's multiple ones with Pikachu.
The first one?
No, that's what I'm saying.
I think I like the
he-
magma. The magma
The
level
magma
too.
level was cool.
The beach is the first one.
I think I liked the
Magma's
first level
cool.
too because it was
Magma
easy.
was the last level. I liked
Was
the
it? Okay.
cave.
The Moltres one.
I don't
right?
You don't
think
think
so.
so?
The one with the
I think
Moltres.
I'm pretty sure Magma is like one of the middle levels.
Yeah.
Because you gotta understand at that age, I wasn't really looking at like winning. I was looking at trying to enjoy the game and the Pokemon in
Just
there, and
playing. Yeah.
and
Just playing.
being able to take stocky photos of.
I
Pokemon.
liked the cave level. I don't know why that one always sticks out
Oh,
to
wow.
me. The
Cave
one where you
level.
got the
because it was scary.
Oh, the electric animal.
the electric cave, the electric plant or
Pokemon?
whatever, where you had to transform the
cool.
Magnemite into a Magnetite
Yeah.
at the end. To
Yeah.
open.
Not
Yeah.
to be
PJ, don't spoil it. What if there's someone
not
that
to be
hasn't played it
confused
yet?
with the caverns,
The caverns. Which one's the
Caverns.
which
caverns?
are like the ones with the floating Jigglypuffs in the dip.
Oh yeah, that one
Oh
too.
yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah,
The whole
yeah.
game was
Wow.
really good. Oh, actually, no, I take
good
that back.
times.
I hated this level, but it was very pretty. The one where you're going down the jungle like forest area, and you're on the like river. That
Oh
one,
yeah. And you have the
it's
slowpoke.
so
and you can,
hard
like,
to beat that level. It was
Yeah.
difficult, but it was really pretty level for the game. So
Aw.
I enjoyed that one. But that was like my
times.
Yeah,
first
good
favorite
stuff.
aesthetically,
The
but my
memories, man.
first
Yep.
favorite gameplay wise was the cave. Anyhow,
Wow. Cool.
Pokemon Snap, it's really good. If you haven't played the original, I highly suggest
Do it.
playing it. And yeah, no like release date or anything announced for this new one.
That's fine. Yeah.
So-
Fix those animations.
Take your time.
It'll
Take,
be made
take
whenever.
10 years.
They didn't really show much. It actually looks like they've just made like one single stage as like a proof of concept.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's much more polished.
Yeah, and then now they're gonna. So I bet we don't see this for at least another year, probably.
We'll see. I know. I just know it's gonna be good.
Oh yeah. I mean, picture games, taking pictures. Can't go
Mhm.
wrong with
And
that.
Pokemon.
Taking
And
pictures of
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
What else
Can't
could
go
you ask
wrong with
for?
that.
It's perfect for you, John. Pokemon
know.
and
Oh.
and camera.
Oh yeah.
Cameraman John in the house.
All right,
Go on.
moving on.
Oh wow, Star Trek.
Oh, we're not going to that topic. Did I?
Oh,
No, we're doing that topic.
just waiting for you.
I thought it was Star Trek.
Anyway, yeah. So Star Wars Squadrons had its gameplay reveal shown at
Wow.
EA Play.
Wow.
It's a bunch
Uh,
of ships.
Wow.
Yeah,
Holy
just
shit.
briefly before we get into Star Wars Squadrons, I want to say EA Play was pretty boring
Oh, it was so
and
garbage.
relatively disappointing.
It was like,
we'll
oh, we
talk a
make
little bit more
games.
about-
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
We
talk a
make
little
money
bit
off
more
of
about some
you.
other things.
Here they are.
But it was very much like I think the way that EA's press conferences generally go for, and I know it's not an E3 press conference, but it's like basically the equivalent of an E3
Yeah.
presser, so I'm going to call it an E3 press conference. But it's like either they have a bunch of games that are going to be out like that year that they're like ready to show and ready to go with, right?
Mhm.
Or it's going to be a year where they're in like maintenance mode, where they're like, yeah, we got some ports and like here's some sim stuff and sports
Always
and
Oh wow.
here's like are studio heads talking about the games that they're working on that you're not going to see for 2 years.
And check out a montage of our past games that are cool.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
Look
of
at how
EA
we blessed
or the
2
way
Yeah.
they present
games.
anything. They have some good games,
Very
but
corporate.
they're a company more than a.
They're very out of touch with.
So yeah,
the
pretty
game
underwhelming. But the
creating.
Squadrons gameplay reveal was pretty hype.
Thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much what we expected from the original like teaser trailer. It's 5v5 multiplayer. There are bots in the multiplayer matches in the like capital ship assault game mode.
So it does make
and-
it feel bigger, which is
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because that's
and-
what I was afraid of was the 5v5
Yeah, it's, like,
matches.
tiny,
It's just
yeah.
like, okay, you get dogfights, but it doesn't feel like an actual all-out
Right.
space battle.
Yeah.
So this is great. Great news.
And yeah, so there's like full character customization for both pilots on both sides. You have full ship customization for all the different ship types. It looks like they're going kind of like like obviously the different ships in Star Wars have always been different types of ships, obviously, right? So you have like
Yeah.
the TIE bomber, which is a bomber, right? And the TIE fighter is a starfighter.
Mhm.
But it looks like they're going deeper in that and making that like core to the gameplay. So like your team composition is going to be important about like who's
I like
flying
that.
what.
Yeah.
It's got a full like skill tree type of deal to customize the way that your ship works, right? So you can like build your ship out to do certain things well. It's pretty, it looks really nice running on the Frostbite engine as expected.
Mhm.
It just looks like a neat Star Wars space fighting
Yeah, it's
action
a
game.
squad-based space fighting game.
Can't wait. It'll
dope.
be the Rainbow Six Siege of space battles.
Oh, dude, yes.
Oh,
I'm
I
down.
talked about this last week, but like
Go
I
on.
genuinely like Star Wars dogfighting games. Like it's my favorite game mode in the Battlefront games. And like I always liked playing the like starfighting games like Rogue Squadron and Jedi Starfighter and stuff like that. So like I'm super hyped for this because
If they can if they can bring back that feel from Battlefront, I'll be so down. Take my $40. It's $40, right?
that's the other thing is it's not
Good
like a
deal.
full price title. It's only
Yeah.
$40. So
Nice.
nice. What if they so if this style of gameplay like goes down great, do you think they're gonna add this to like the next Battlefronts?
well, I mean like Battlefront effectively like has starfighting stuff
Right.
already.
But I mean, take this gameplay loop and like
Yeah,
place it
well, like
within
the
it.
only difference, I think, realistically,
just
like
squeeze it in there.
Star Squadrons is basically like it's basically the Battlefront starfighting stuff
Okay.
with like a little.
I've never played it.
Obviously, it's got tweaked physics,
cultured.
right? So the physics work a little bit more like regular space physics. I'm pretty sure where like the starfighters and like the regular Star Wars Battlefront games they're like jets, right? They
Right.
go linear, like just straight, and you like turn them around, right? Where they show deliberately in the Squadrons gameplay of like flying up and like
Yeah.
cutting your thrusters and like making a
space
180 so
drifting.
that you can shoot
Yeah.
behind you, and stuff like that. So, and then obviously like the balancing of your like shields, or not your shields, but your thrusters and like the power to your blasters and stuff like that. Which there actually is that in Battlefront, but I think they're going a little bit more deep on it in Squadrons. But then you just have like the ship customization, which sounds really cool, and I'm down with.
That's cool.
Nice. Can't wait.
Yes.
Moving on to more EA stuff, they during a little montage with the different developers of various studios over
wow.
at EA, They came out and talked a little bit about what they're working on at DICE for Battlefield. Well, for the next Battlefield game, we're going to call it Battlefield 6. We don't necessarily know what it's going to be called, but
Battlefield 1.5.
17.
But they
Hi.
showed a little bit of like AI stuff, like AI soldier stuff, and they showed a little bit of building
It was
destruction, which looked really nice.
But I would rather see gameplay.
It's
Right,
how
but like
early,
it's
how
probably
early do
super
you
early.
think this is?
Yeah,
like
it's too early.
It's
it's
1.5
cool.
years in advance. Like, did EA not have enough like content that they had to
Either
show
that or
this?
they're trying to just like tease it
I don't
slowly over
know.
the next few months. Like next couple weeks,
Well,
they'll release a little bit more.
Maybe.
I feel like they're like,
I
hey
don't
guys,
know.
show us off the new Battlefield 6 game. It's like, oh crap, and then like, well, you better make something to show.
Like, here's what we got.
And that's what
Yeah,
they
they
got.
just have that one
Yeah.
meme that Garrick always posts with the kid looking sideways.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it is like just that all the games are not ready to go,
Yeah.
right?
Well, so,
and I
yeah.
think it's probably that like I bet the Battlefield 6 is in a state where it's not rough enough to show and be like, yeah, well, it's an alpha,
Right.
but it's not good enough to show because people are going to be like, this looks like
Right.
garbage.
So they did the right move. It's not like
But-
they did with
Yeah.
War of the Worlds. You're like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Tom Cruise movie?
No.
Oh,
yeah,
that
the one
game.
we talked
yeah,
about
yeah,
a few
yeah,
weeks
yeah,
ago,
yeah,
where you're
yeah,
just looking
yeah,
at it like,
yeah.
is that the actual game footage or that's
Right.
gross?
I mean, I feel like they could have just said, "Yo, we're making Battlefield 6."
Right,
in."
and then like
Whatever.
5 months from now, then they
Right,
do
yeah.
another drop with the actual like game.
Well, we
I mean,
kind of got that.
Well, I guess
right?
this
So-
makes hype. Yeah, this makes hype.
right.
So I guess
So
it's a
there
good idea,
is
too.
stuff to talk about here. So like,
Even though
we-
I don't want to dig too far into the footage they
yeah,
showed.
it doesn't mean anything.
It's
right.
a tech demo.
Well, there's not very much
It's
there.
literally
right?
just
But
the building
what we
destruction.
did
I
get-
think that's worth looking
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
They're
Right.
over analyzing
Yeah,
it.
people are
like,
over analyzing it. Like, come on,
using
just chill.
the
Chill.
Japanese
Yeah.
soldiers. Like,
Oh,
oh my
yeah.
god, it's gonna
Yeah.
be another World War II game.
It's like, no,
no,
it's like that's probably the
they're just-
assets they have. They're
Yeah.
testing. It's just, come on.
I think
Jeez,
really
just
what's
take it
to-
at face value.
I think really the what I'm getting from that, or like kind of hoping maybe from that, is that in the next game they're going to have it'll continue to be like 64 player games, right? The
Yeah.
conventional 32v32,
Oh yeah.
but they'll add bots to the match to
That'd be
like
cool.
double or like
Yeah.
triple the like soldier count, right?
Yeah.
Having
Exactly.
twofold
That'll
effect
make it
of
more fun and immersive.
right, making the battlefield feel more lively and more immersive, like an actual war is happening,
Mhm.
and also providing, bots for the lesser
I
skilled
don't-
player to shoot at and still enjoy
I don't
themselves.
like that because
Yeah.
what game tried doing that and it didn't feel right.
Titanfall.
Yes, Titanfall.
I mean, a lot of games have
hated
done,
it.
but Titanfall
yeah,
did
because
it.
you used
liked it.
Titanfall like as an example. They gave you points when you killed the boss. There's just severely less points. I hated that because it felt like there was too much. It was very cluttered, and it's like that's
Yeah.
cool
It might-
idea, but at
But-
the same time, it's
So
Hopefully
the thing
they find a
though,
balance.
the thing there though is that like Titanfall is kind of a Call of Duty like.
so it's
Yeah.
over
Right.
sensory, whereas like a Battlefield game is supposed
Yeah.
to be over sensory. Like you're supposed to be feeling like you're enclosed by a bunch
Yeah,
of shit.
like
Battlefield,
Battlefield's
it's a giant-
supposed
yeah.
to feel like all out war
Yeah.
is
An
happening
actual
around
battle.
you.
Okay, that I
Yeah.
can see, I guess.
But yeah, but so see, that's why I think it'll be an advantage to us Battlefield players because there's some maps in the previous Battlefields where the maps are
Very
so
empty,
huge
yeah.
that 64 players weren't enough to fill it and make it immersive enough.
Or it's more like battles become centralized around hot points on the map.
Mhm.
So there's lots of parts of the map that you can just
empty.
run around and not see anybody in.
Yeah, that's no
Maybe it would be interesting if they like implemented some kind of dynamic objective system that was specific to certain squads, right? So it's like a squad on the like US side gets an objective to go take a like munitions dump or something, and at the same time an enemy on the Russian team or a squad on the Russian team get the objective to defend that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a random location on the map,
That'd be neat. Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily, like, it's not so that gameplay isn't always centrally located just around the
Mhm.
flags.
Right.
So like,
And-
so I like side missions. That sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Right, and you kind of get that kind of like feel of like a special ops team
Yeah.
going off in the middle of like the larger war to go do
Mhm.
some kind of like behind the lines mission.
It makes it feel like a co-op campaign at that point, where
Right, in the
You have
middle of a
option.
multiplayer match.
it's an optional special mission that you can achieve for
Right.
extra points.
And I don't know if you guys ever played MAG.
Nope.
A
But,
little
like,
bit, yeah. That
One of
was
the things that I always thought, one of the things that I always thought was so cool about MAG, and it wasn't as much the player count, right? Because like ultimately at the end of the day, MAG's player count just felt like a regular game of Battlefield, really.
fun.
Because at any given time, you're really only engaging with 32 enemy players, just because of the way that the maps were just like designed. And then at the end, you would see, all the players would kind of converge at the end into a larger battle. But I digress. MAG was really cool because it was attack and defend centric, right? So it was a team. It was one of the PMC trying to hold a location, and then the other army pushing it and trying to take it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had everybody started at like the front line, which were like front kind of outposts, right? And then behind those, you had like a line of defensive type thing. So you had like an enemy radar, and you had like the enemy anti-air guns and stuff like that, right? And getting back there and destroying those, they were like side objectives away from like, well, I mean, they were kind of main objectives because you ultimately would have to get rid of those to continue to like push. But it was like during the like beginning phase of pushing the front outposts, you could go on like special ops missions behind enemy lines to destroy their radar dish, and now they can't call UAVs. Or you destroy their anti-air, and now you can get paratroopers jumping in on your side of the map, and you can like land behind the enemies. And it'd be really cool if they added that type of stuff.
I like optional stuff to kind of
Yeah,
help
that
you out
sounds fun.
with
Keep
for some
it
perks.
fresh.
Yeah.
I really hope that they go deep on like weapon customization. Of course, also we should also say like the rumors and like leaks about Battlefield 6 is that it's going to be modern day.
Yes.
Right, so similar to like Modern Warfare. I hope that they go with a different system from Modern Warfare system and do like the original Battlefield 4 system where you just have attachment slots and you put attachments in those slots, and they affect the stats of your gun both positively and negatively.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I
like
wouldn't
that.
mind. I also wouldn't mind bringing back the standard kits, like during Bad Company and the original Battlefields.
Right, like perks. Well, so I was thinking it'd be cool if they transitioned that into an actual like loadout system, right? So expanding on the kind of like your squad that they have in Battlefield 5, right, where you have individual units kind of for the different classes. Also setting it up so kind of in the vein of like Tarkov, which Tarkov I don't think have implemented this yet, but they're planning on it, where it's like you decide what goes on your kit. You know what I mean? Like how many mag pouches you have, if you have any like meta kits, like and
That's
you like
really
really
detailed.
decide. Yeah, like you really just like get to decide how you design. And then obviously like for specific classes, you can, only use specific things. right? So like maybe like you don't get or like everybody can have like a self-use med kit, but only the medic gets like multiple med kits to use on other people or whatever, right? So you maintain the class system, but like instead of, because like Garrick, right, talking about the Bad Company thing, you could like
Mhm.
run the perk for extra ammo, right? Well, what if you could just, instead of running a single stack pouch, run double stack pouches and double your magazine capacity, but it slows you down a little bit.
Yeah, I
I
like
would
Yeah.
that.
like to
I like
try
it.
that. It might be too complicated for like a yeah, maybe Battlefield game, but maybe I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, that's the only
I
thing.
think
It's maybe a little too complicated,
Yeah.
but I think it would be like really interesting.
Yeah, I would like to try it.
And
Yeah.
and again, you could totally like not to get gross about cosmetics, right? But
Oh,
you
no.
can really go deep on the microtransactions
Oh
of
no,
like
Joey,
different
Oh,
pouches
don't go
how
there.
how
and
dare
different
you?
vest types
No.
We
and
don't do
different
that
like
here.
BDUs for the different soldiers and stuff like that.
Oh god.
So I think it makes
Oh.
sense from a monetary perspective for EA
Yeah.
to put the work in for that.
My biggest gripe now with these days, like with all the customization, is that like when you're on a team playing, it's like you can't tell who's who now because
Yeah.
everyone's has their own different clown shoe or
Well, not only
it's
that,
just hard to tell who's
it kind of ruins
yeah, ruins immersion.
the immersion and the realism of it. Like I mean, it's people's prerogative, but my
Yeah,
preference
I get
is
it.
to be almost like milsim, where like my character is wearing a proper
Yeah,
uniform in the
exactly.
proper
Right.
setting, so it
And
feels like I'm part of the game.
yeah, and I was gonna say like Battlefield 5 took a lot of heat for that from the launch trailer, but like actually going into the like launch of the game, I think that EA took that criticism to heart.
Okay, that's
So
good.
like Battlefield 5 is relatively good about like the different sides.
Right. So you can tell like
being
okay,
different.
that's a
Yeah.
U.S. Army, that's a German troop,
Um
like from a glance. That's
and
my problem with Modern Warfare. It's like at a glance, I can't tell if that's that faction or that faction.
Right. Modern
Yeah.
Warfare has gotten really bad about that because of the influx of just like crazy, wacky skins. You really struggle to tell like what somebody is.
Yeah.
And it's not so much a problem in your like regular game modes or like in Warzone, right, where it's kind of effectively a free for all.
Yeah.
But like it's impossible to play like a realism in hardcore.
Oh god.
Because
I haven't played
like
realism yet.
right, because it's like how you
That would be
can't
bad.
you can't tell who is who or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
I think that EA is going to continue to like take, or like DICE really is going to continue to take that, like they took a lot of heat for not being like realistic with Battlefield 5, right? So I think they are really going to take that to heart with Battlefield 6 and focus on the mill sim stuff
like,
in a way that they didn't before. And even down to stuff like, and I kind of hope that they do, I hope that they bring back the system from Battlefield 3 where you only have the weapons available to you that army would use.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like if you're playing as the Russians, you only get like AK variants and stuff like that. Right? And then like maybe implement some kind of system where like if you master the weapon or whatever, you can use it on the other side.
Right.
But like just like go deeper in the like milsim.
Yeah, because I
like
like when Battlefield was like a milsim like light. Yes, and because if I want to play an arcade shooter, I'll do Call of Duty.
You have Call of Duty, right? And I think that is important, like going into the next Battlefield, because like Modern Warfare is still going to be a thing, right? Yeah, the next Call of Duty might have come out by then, but it's not going to stop Modern Warfare from being a thing. I think that and especially because that like how they've talked about how Warzone's going to work and like Warzone being here to stay. Modern Warfare is here to stay. So they need to differentiate themselves from Modern Warfare, and the way to do that
is what Battlefield did.
Large scale combat, large scale squad team based combat.
Yeah, and and shock paddle kills.
Yep.
Shock battle.
And destruction. Bring back
Yeah.
destruction.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I
that's
don't know
that's
about shock
something I want.
paddles. I prefer the EpiPens.
EpiPens are pretty funny too. Yeah. But I like the
killing-
clear.
Yeah,
That's
and
so
it-
fun.
that's hilarious.
I just like poking somebody in the back of the neck with the syringe and
But
watching them die.
John mentioned the destruction. What I would like is to not bring full destruction to buildings where it's flat and makes a flat battlefield, but maybe make buildings 80% destructible. So it'll be fluid. So you can
90%
choose what you can choose what to destroy.
Yeah.
But once it hits that threshold, it locks in the rest of the building that hasn't been destroyed. It makes it an anchored structure. So there's still some things to choose from as far as defense goes and hiding and cover.
What about making destruction harder?
To destroy things?
To destroy things. So it's like instead of I think the previous games you can just run through a whole entire house with a car.
Yeah.
What if it's like you can't? It's like you just run into one wall. Maybe you kind of stick through half of it. You know,
It might
and you can't go
depend
further.
on it might depend on the material.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think
Well, it
that would
depends on
be
the
an
material, but like a
interesting way.
concrete or like a concrete wall or something like that. You shouldn't be able to run through it. You know.
Yeah, like
And-
brick or wood.
And even like
houses would
RPGs
be
or
cool.
grenades, like frag grenades, it shouldn't be able to take down a wall because it's fragmentation, right? For at least a frag grenade. So it's like maybe if they can do something with that, so it's not you don't just shoot a wall and it just explodes.
Yeah,
you shoot
like
a wall
just
and you see some bullet holes or just some chipping.
Yeah,
something like
balance out the
Balance it
effect
out,
of
yeah.
the different
Agreed.
types of destruction.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways, that's Battlefield 6.
That's
I'm
Battlefield
excited.
6 talk. Okay, we're going to close out with a few games that are coming to Switch and Steam.
Oh wow.
Notably,
These
Apex
games.
Legends coming to Switch.
Oh,
That's the important one.
yay.
So that's cool. It's also coming to Steam, along with Titanfall 2,
Mhm.
The Sims 4, Dead Space 3,
Yep.
and A Way Out, which
A
is that
Way.
like co-op
Yeah.
like story game.
Oh way out.
Nice.
Wasn't that was EA's big announcement? They're doing Steam,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they're like starting to slowly push their games out on
Yeah,
Steam,
so like,
so that's
"Aw,
cool. You don't need to use Origin anymore.
EA Origin
I do want
sucks."
to bring up very cool for Titanfall 2 had a huge player resurgence with its
Oh.
launch on Steam.
Nice.
Nice.
I want to
See-
say I read it had like more players than all of the Battlefield games combined.
See, that's the thing.
Wow.
They're realizing EA is finally realizing that they've been holding back sales just by making exclusives on
Yeah.
Origin.
See, next
Like,
step.
Oh,
next
wow,
step,
brain
chop out
blast,
those
EA.
console exclusives. That's the next step, you guys. I know
Mhm.
you guys hate it because you guys are all console
Uh-huh.
fanboys, but if you think of it as gamers, as one, when we can play all the same game, it doesn't matter what console, what PC you're playing on, man.
There'll be
all
loyalty
gamers.
to their preference of gaming vehicle. It'll
Uh-huh.
always be like that. Like if there's exclusives on PS5, I'll just say, oh, I
Yep.
guess I'll go without it
Yep,
because
I'm not
I
gonna
won't get the
touch it.
PS5. But I still might get the PS5 because it looks cool.
I'm not. So,
We'll see. That's
that
another
example works for me.
another conversation. But anyways, I did digress. Go ahead, Joey.
I don't have much more to say.
Okay.
It's cool that Titanfall's doing good. The Sims 4 have fun buying all the DLCs on a new
Dear
platform.
God, never again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, I never did it, but I watched other people that did.
I don't remember. Did the other Dead Spaces get put on Steam already, or did they start with Dead Space
I
3?
wanna
Because if
say-
they're
I
starting
think-
with
No, they're
3,
all on
I think it's
Origin.
kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? I could have sworn I saw some Dead
Weird.
Space.
Maybe the first one is, but I know 2 is not there.
Yeah, because that's an older game, so it makes sense. Because Origin
think
usually
so.
puts
I
all
honestly
their older
don't
games on
think so
there.
now that I'm thinking about it, though. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure Origin is the only one that has Dead Space.
Gotcha.
I could be wrong, but I think so.
Cool. Well, that's the story on EA and Origin. They're slowly
Uh-huh.
spreading their wings finally. It
And,
took them so long.
I think that's going to be the story on our show.
Wow, Morning Glory.
We're going to go
With a
ahead
lovely
and
lady.
close out here. I want to thank everybody for listening
Oh,
to us over
yeah.
here on
Tap, tap,
The
tap.
Fat
Oh.
Peeps.
Wow, time flies
All
when
our
you're having
peeps
fun,
out there.
guys.
Yes.
So, yeah, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.